They've done it, boys. They've done it. New South Wales, they've finally won an Origin decider in Brisbane. It's the first time in nearly 20 years. Last time it happened was 2005. We will have our State of Origin post-mortem, the wrap-up of all the action in this weekend's NRL and AFL, talking all things footy. Plus, Spain win the Euros. Euro 2024 goes to Spain. It's not coming home. It's going to Casa. Argentina win the Copa. But how about is Messi's ankle? That may be the question on a lot of people's lips. A little bit of movement in the NBA. Russell Westbrook to go to the Nugs. And did Jalen Brunson turn down $100 million for the sake of the New York Knicks? Olympics are just around the corner. The opening ceremony is Friday. But the Matildas and our men's rugby sevens teams will see action before then, midweek, if you can to get up late or early. Plus a final round featuring a UFC 304 preview next week in England. And tonight, F1's in Hungary and the British Open to go into Sunday from Scotland. This is On The Esky. It's an Aussie sports podcast. We like our Aussie sports. We like our US and world sports. We have timestamps on YouTube. You can skip to the sports that you like. We do have social media in Instagram and Facebook. We'd like to shout a beer to start the show. Shauno. Mm-hmm. Someone got paid over in the States? Who is it?
Yeah, well, I think NFL's been a bit quiet. We're in training camp land. We'll probably go into fantasy football chat next month as we lead up to the start of the season in September. But with that, there's a bit of NFL news, but the one I wanted to focus on and shout a beer out was for Quinn Miners. Not a big name by any accounts because he plays guard.
Big man, though.
But he plays guard very well, known as the Belly. He got paid. He got a 4-year, $80 million extension from Denver. That $20 million average puts him in the top 5. I think he's equal third with Nelson from memory. But congrats for him getting his money, well deserved. And I think Denver now, across 4 of their positions, have the most money going into our offensive line at the moment, with centre being the only guy they haven't paid yet. So, yeah, hopefully a bit of return on investment probably for a rookie quarterback to be protected there. And then outside of that, we've got just to cover off some NFL news. Jacob Jones did pass away during the week at 40 years old, I think it was.
Do we know how?
No, I don't think they've... Oh, maybe it was an car accident. I can't remember. But unfortunately has passed away at a very young age. And then there's a few retirements come out during the week as well. Shaq Barrett and then Kenyon Drake as well both said they are retiring and finishing up their careers. So that's a bit of the NFL news as we lead into, I guess, the start of pre-season in the coming weeks.
I can't see anything here on Jacoby Jones.
Reports are he died in his sleep.
Wow.
Oh, good. Awesome return specialist. Quite a tall guy as well for a return specialist, like sort of 6'3", and not overly speedy in terms of his draft measurables, but just shifty and knew how to take it to the house once he was in the open field. So definitely thinking of him and his family. And yes, again, we speak about it a fair bit here on this podcast, just the sheer size of the NFL. Unfortunately, there's often some sad news. Veiled Jacoby Jones.
Yep. And to finish on that point of size, it just jumps in my memory because the Packers are publicly owned. They put out, I think they got $494 million, so roughly $500 million. So if you add that out, the league probably made about $13 billion in profit last year that they then paid out to the team. So the NFL making all the cash at the moment.
The other thing you forgot to say was the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl.
The other rumor is that Jordan Love's in play to get a monster extension as well. So.
But if he played like he did the back end of last year, the whole season really last year, looking really good and proving a lot of the naysayers wrong. But going to be a hard division.
Oh, yeah, always hard.
Lions looking good.
But that's some quick NFL chat for the Esky.
Yeah, and in the next month, we'll really be ramping up the NFL chat, that's for sure.
Definitely.
What about you, Bebby?
I'm going to kind of keep a US theme here with a nice Aussie flavour. It's the first time that this has ever happened. We've never even really gone close. And my personal favourite sport, we love talking baseball here on the Esky.
You finally joined me.
We definitely love talking baseball when an Aussie goes number 1 in the Major League Baseball draft this past week. Travis Bazzana, 21-year-old Aussie from Sydney. gets drafted to the Cleveland Guardians. Signed a deal worth $9 million USD, about 15 mil AUDs. Played second base over at Oregon State. Multi-talented kid growing up. Was listening to a story of him, very handy cricketer in his teen years. And apparently his dad took him down to do a bit of a first grade tryout. And the first grade skipper was saying, can the boys bowl quick to him? And he's, no worries. And apparently held his own against first graders at the age of 12. So nothing wrong with his hand-eye, that's for sure. And it also got me thinking, obviously this is the first time that an Australian's been drafted number 1 overall in the Major League Baseball. I was thinking, who's the highest previously? Because it's not like basketball where we've had multiple number 1 picks in the past. There's actually only a handful of guys that have ever been drafted from Australia to Major League Baseball. Josh Spence went 25th overall back in 2008 to the Arizona Diamondbacks. There's a bloke called Shane Bennett who got drafted in 1993, much later. And then of the 3 Aussies that have been Major League Baseball All-Stars, Dave Nielsen, Grant Balfour and Liam Hendricks, all undrafted. So all played pro here or elsewhere and then exactly get picked up that way. So it's a massive achievement to even be drafted into the Major League Baseball, given, they obviously a lot of Americans go, but heaps of guys from Japan, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, all through the Caribbean. Baseball is a reasonably international game. So to even get drafted is incredible, but to go number 1 overall, definitely one to keep an eye on. So wishing him all the best. Travis Bazana, enjoy your beer courtesy of the Esky.
How long do you think it will take before he uses the "that's just Bazball" quote?
Bit of Bazball. Bazball, it's aggressive. It doesn't. They don't care if they win or lose. It's just about entertainment. People will remember the way that they've played fondly, etc., etc.
He could probably really make that his own.
Yes,
really
bit of Bazball, baby. Let's go. England is playing West Indies currently. We don't have a cricket section.
It's a bit quiet
today.
for
So mate, let's
moment.
just sneak a little bit of cricket
Post
in there.
World Cup.
What's that guy? Gus Atkinson, I think is his name. Took 7 in the first innings, 5 in the second for 12 on debut. If you wouldn't mind just getting his numbers
I did
up.
see Joseph hitting a few sixes as well from a fast bowler. It's not too bad.
Big Alzari. They're holding their own in this second test. I think they made 400 odd, so definitely not too bad. But England's got about 200 run lead. They should really comfortably win. If you wouldn't mind getting those numbers from the first test for Big Gus, and famously Jimmy Anderson's last test sort of dominated by the Rook. I think he bowls pretty quick as well. I was having a look. You got to always do the conversion from miles to kilometres. It's bloody annoying, but I think regularly in the mid 140s. The way that we look at it. Have you got the first test there?
Yep. So
7 for 45 in the first innings and 5 for 61.
Not bad.
So 12 for 100 odd.
Yep.
Pretty handy debut.
I think he's already got a couple as well.
In this second test.
Second test, yeah.
Keep an eye out for it. Obviously, everyone in Australia will be, banging on their steel drums and growing some dreadlocks in support for the West Indies, but I don't think they're going to get the win here. Monks, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Who are you
Been a
shouting?
good couple of weeks. I am shouting just Hull a bit of carb loading ahead of her Olympic run. This past few weeks has been pretty crazy for her. So a few weeks ago, she broke her own personal record for the 1,500 metres in Paris, beating that by 5 seconds. And then last week, she went out and just got herself the world record for the 200 women's
2,000.
At a 0.
I was going to say I'm going to need help from you boys on the numbers, and I
thought you were good with numbers. We're going to talk about this pre show.
That's why he works for the
Sleep
government.
deprivation.
Put a 0 here,
Zero
0 there.
doesn't work quite like that.
Allegedly.
No, that's the sleep deprivation.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. No, so 2,000 metres. She
How old's your kid? Is she 1 or 10?
you carry the 0, right?
Sorry, you're
Well, I
saying.
mean, she's 10 months old,
Oh,
so
yeah,
we'll go with that.
We'll go with that.
Yes, with a time of 5 minutes, 19.7 seconds at the Monaco Diamond League. So, yeah, great form leading up to the Paris Olympics starting this week.
So that's a world record.
That's a world record for
2K.
2K. Yep.
Jeez, that's incredible. So no 2K event at the Olympics. Her event will be 1500,
Yep.
which she doesn't have the world record, but she does have the Australian record. So
No.
will definitely
Yep.
be a medal shout. Come 10 days' time, whenever the girls 1500 is about to
Definitely,
run.
yeah. So
I'm sure Bruce will be frothing it.
definitely, he loves the Olympics, doesn't he?
Oh, he does.
Yeah. So Faith Kipyegon
Yep.
from Kenya has got the 1500 meter world and Olympic record at 3 minutes 49.04 for the world record and 3 minutes 53.11 for the Olympic record.
Say that world record again. 349 what?
349.04.
So her Australian record is 350.83. So she's a bee's dick
Yeah.
away. Wow.
She would have broken the Olympic record.
Yeah.
353. So
Really good
yeah,
chance.
great form at the moment. Would obviously be competing, I believe, up against Faith. So yeah,
You can't have faith. We want some gold. Anyways, it's very rare for Australian to win gold in track and field. So yeah,
Get behind him.
bloody oath. Jessica Hull, keep an eye out on her. And just the one beer for you, Jess, until you win your gold medal. All right, Shaun, you're going to take us away with the mop here. I love it is sports related.
Yeah,
It is
I
sports
thought it was
related.
interesting that we throw in something
it
that
relates to about everything.
you know, we get stuck into West Tigers and
Yeah,
the
they've got
like.
a lot of mops.
A lot of mops, but I think it's the
English
first where
cricketers.
we've gone. Here's an IT mop, and we're throwing out a mop here to Cloud Strike, as I think everyone's quite aware of the impacts.
The world breaking?
Breaking across the world. But then the impacts
Shutting down
within
for 24
sport,
hours.
because realistically, it came out in Australia first because they run the thing at midnight in the US, and then it hit Australia first because our services were still up. And a lot of it had to do with people trying to sort out their tickets for AFL and NRL matches,
Yep.
which is where it started actually really blowing up, and then it started spreading. It was people were like, well, how am I going to redeem my ticket to actually get into this game? So there was some chatter in the AFL and the NRL about, do we postpone this game? Who's going to actually show up for these games? Then you're like, hey, if you've got physical tickets or if you've got your members card, we'll just sort it out of the ground. All the games went ahead, but there was a bit of worry and hoopla leading up to it happening. And then, of course, it spread elsewhere. I saw in the F1 that Mercedes couldn't get any of their pit wall, any of their data screens working because obviously that went back to their home base and they couldn't get through. So they had all the blue screens of death as well. So, yeah, it definitely did spread through the sporting world as well, plus impacting everything else across the globe. So I thought it was a pretty interesting and fitting mop to throw out this week in sports-related moppery.
Definitely.
And in 20 seconds or less, can you give the listeners a quick sort of brief layman's rundown as to how something like this can happen?
Well, they've pushed an update they thought was simple, but essentially what I understand from our other friends was they just set it up because it's an antivirus thing. So it's looking for viruses. The new update made it think that itself was a virus. So I just constantly got in this loop that
Autoimmune.
I'm a virus. And
No,
it's
real
crashing.
people do that too.
Leukemia or something.
Yeah. So it'd boot up you'd boot your system up with the update, and then it'd look and see itself, and then think it's a virus, and then it'd just get caught in a boot loop essentially, and was crashing everything. So that's the simple layman's
pretty
term
good.
of it.
Well,
that makes sense.
I bet a bunch of IT people will shit themselves over the weekend with services down, and having no idea how to fix it, and then essentially waiting for one giant IT company to have to resolve the issues. And they took a pretty decent stock hit, losing about 12%, and I think you've sort of showed
Less than what I thought.
Yeah, well, but that's
Not that I know stocks.
Yeah, but for a stock movement in a single day, that's pretty significant. And then the natural number one competitor also had a nice bump in their stock
Makes
price
sense.
as well.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see. That also was one day of trading because it was, of course,
Over the
the US
weekend.
Friday.
Yep.
So yeah, when it opens again on our Tuesday, on their Monday, it might take a bigger hit because it has still run over the weekend. But
Yeah.
no financial advice here from On The Esky.
No, unless it's bad sports betting.
Yeah, it's
Which did not go down. I was able to lose my $5 on my weekly $5.
Yeah, Sportsnet was still good.
multi-loss.
They're sorted.
Yeah. Well, it also seemed kind of low. Microsoft was reporting only 8 million computers, or 1% of Windows computers worldwide was affected.
Less than 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but the big
it
thing
just
is
happened to be 1% of the biggest computers.
Yeah, exactly. The
across
big
world.
server infrastructure that was using it which then knocking out like a significant thing. So if it knocks out like one and it's facilitating this huge amount of major infrastructure, and it starts wiping out lots and lots of things. So
a lot for my pea brain, I tell you.
yeah. It's a my deep boil on the Esky, and I guess we'll go back to footy.
We have some strange segues on this show. Let's go IT into the hardest game of them all. We do have to talk about it. We spoke about it, alluded to it, top of the show. It's very, very, very rare for New South Wales to go up and win a State of Origin decider up there at Suncorp. Me and Monk's going to bask in the glory. Sean's going to give us some bullshit excuses, I'd imagine.
Those are refs.
But let's at least run through the game and recap it, and then we'll talk about the whole series. A few sort of big pre-game moves from the Maroons. So Mo Fodawaker, Felice Kafusi, Harry Grant all start.
Yep.
Bit of mind games kind of stuff. What do you reckon was going on?
I think for the flow of the game, it actually made a lot of sense. Yeah. Fodawaker, I thought, was probably the best front rower on the park in that first stint. He was really impactful, so I think that really worked because, as we talked about in that preview in the last pod, was like that first 20 minutes, the hype, you have to get hammered, set the tone, and he really took it, set the tone. I think for Kafusi for Nano was a good switch because of Nano's, say, lapses in defence occasionally, whereas you get the veteran in there first 20 minutes, which is going to tackle the house down, which he did. I thought he did a really good job. And I thought the Grant Hunt switch was also good, and I think played it well as well, because you get Ben into the middle part and the important part of the game, which I think Harry maybe lacked in the last two, whereas you get Ben for the 20 to the 60 minute stint where it's the core of the game. They're trying to get into the, we've gone through the grindy arm wrestle to start with. Now we've got to get some points and use his veteran leadership in there, and then save Harry for the last 20 where you get the explosive end. So I thought that actually kind of really worked well. And, with Cotter and Collins playing around that, I thought that idea worked well. And it kind of went with the grindy, back and forth game that we got. Yeah. It made it kind of worked out.
There was certainly nothing wrong from a tactical perspective early. I do wonder if it does play into when the points were scored and it all went in that sort of between 60 and 70 minutes.
Exactly. And I think, we probably worked out that Ponga's not a second rower out of this because, he's put on in that 60 minutes to try and create a bit of X factor, and within 10 minutes he was busted. Like he was really tired, and then the amount of tackle effort they put in play and really eliminated his X factor from that. And I think they just kind of opened it up at the right time. Like that period was where either team was going to score and then take the game away. So.
Well, we certainly questioned it last pod when we saw the team getting announced, and all the sort of rhetoric was going to be, they're going to carry two smaller guys on this bench with Grant, who ended up starting, and Ponga, and it just goes to show, when you've got a really good utility, a true 14, it's so invaluable because it is hard, even a guy as good as KP, it is hard to inject them and try to have impact if they've got to defend where they
exactly
not used to defending.
I think put him on the 60 minute. And he's 100% the right call and the right spot to put him in because it was right where the game, the next points win essentially. Yeah. And if Queensland score, then they might run away and score back to back really quickly, and that's the game. And on the flip side, who was 14 for
Connor Watson?
Connor Watson came in at basically the same time and had the same impact for New South Wales. They kind of lifted in that same spot, and then they got their two tries, and then that's the game. So, it was right at that tipping point of it could have gone either way.
And shout out to Connor Watson. A few people scratching their heads when their selection got made. I think a lot of people in the sort of rugby league know we're sort of tipping him to make his Blues debut. A real true utility and looked pretty dangerous towards the end there. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the first half. Have you guys seen a better first half in recent memory of Origin footy?
In recent memory, I'd say yes. I'd say this game was good and gritty, but lacked quality.
There's a few errors.
Not errors, but as in the skill positions was essentially eliminated from the game.
I think because the defence was so strong.
Yeah, and I think both of the teams took a bit of the piss, and Ashley Klein didn't want to blow his whistle like crazy. So
there may have been a little bit of instruction that it's Origin. Let's keep it in the pocket. But I think credit where credit's due, especially to the Maroons who defended their own goal line really well, especially that first pre-scuffle, first half an hour. And then the scuffle, it's got a lot of people talking post-match. So Luai and DCE sort of initiate.
It's done to me that they initiate it and then they play on, and then the other two get sent off. Like what? For me, it made more sense. Why don't you sit them two down, because they're the ones that are kicking?
Yeah, but it's the escalation. You can have a little bit of niggle, and if they walk,
but they were doing face strikes. They're both striking each other in the face with open palms.
It's always been third.
It's power slap, bro.
It's power slap. It's what's her name? Paige Van Zandt.
Yeah, but I was saying there is no brawl escalation anyway if they hadn't initiated.
But Nanai runs in third man, hits Luai in his back. That's what's built it over.
I know.
If Nanai doesn't do that, you can't tell me that those two wouldn't have got separated and then that's it. And the spot.
But I just got a root cause, and they were the root cause. So
of course,
that's, to me, like
you can say that. I understand. Any fight, though.
I understand the third man in kind of the rule and what the
that's what escalates it.
But usually it's a push and shove. Whereas I kind of felt like it made more sense to sit DCE and Luai down, because they had been niggling for the first 30 minutes leading up to it anyway.
They were. It was an accident waiting to happen. And like you said, there was face striking, but there was no closed fists. And I think they're very aware of that now.
Yeah.
And the thing that really sent it literally over the edge, over the sideline.
Push it in the sideline, and then
was Nane coming in. And
New South Wales boys having to run down.
Having to spread down. Some from on the field, some from the bench. So Toto was the only guy within Kui, and then I think Cam Murray was the next person in. Never happened before that someone's been sin binned whilst
from the bench.
Not being on.
Poor Mish Barnett.
Mish Barnett's just made his Origin debut. Played his absolute ass off to get in there. We spoke about his numbers a few weeks ago. Couldn't have played it any better for the Wires, and then he's going to get dragged as well.
I think Murray's probably lucky not to get sent off.
That's what DCE was saying.
But I think, and again, because they had to pick someone because they're third man in. Klein just went tit for tat and was just like, we'll just keep it even here. I don't want to get in trouble again like I did in the first game.
I don't want to ruin the series. Please. Even though when we watched it back 1,000 times, it probably definitely was a send-off.
Yeah. But, that he's trying to stay out of the picture as much as possible is what I've thought.
Look, obviously I'm a Blues fan and the Blues won. I don't really know what else Klein's meant to do in that situation. I feel like both teams are sort of at fault. You could argue that it should have been Luai, DCE.
He had to sit someone down.
Yeah, two people had to go.
Two people, and I think he tried to keep it even. Yes, if Murray had been in the playing squad, it'd probably a different situation. But I ask questions because any game that isn't Origin, if someone comes off the best, is a send off.
And again, because
he didn't come onto the field of play, so
you can't really see what's happening either. Because the cameraman, it shows to the cameraman, they're the unsung heroes in all of this, really getting right in there to try.
Got the shot of him running down the sideline, but he didn't come into the area of play, so maybe that's the caveat.
He's just having a wrestle too.
Yeah,
funny as well with Olakuatu. Getting
not
involved. Not even in playing gear. He's in his blazer and chinos. And missed the Manly game today. So some shit we've never seen before. And the modern day scuffle, still, I don't think there was any punches thrown, but certainly made for some good entertainment on about 30 minutes.
Yep.
Back into that first half, Stephen Crichton went really close. Reece Walsh did sort of go in with the knees. Obviously getting some good tutelage from Billy Slater. And then Spencer Leniu takes out DCE. Pretty silly in retrospect. Definitely changes his course to give DCE the penalty kick to make it 2-2 at the half. Second half went out. Mitch Moses, first thing that he did that was really good was that cover tackle on Reece Walsh.
Yep.
Because if he doesn't make that cover tackle, Reece is...
probably goes.
Yes, off he goes. Good luck catching him. And that, I think it really lifted the Blues. Lomax pretty smart with that play there, waited for Walsh to get up to then drive him out of bounds to win the ball back for the Blues. And that hammer escort led to the sort of gutsy call, I thought, for the Blues to elect to try and kick a penalty from the right sideline. And Zach Lomax slots it to go 2-2. Shout out to Desmond. And then down the other end of the field, Reece Robson gets Harry Grant high 4-2 after 3 quarters of the game. Very low scoring.
Yeah. To me, I think that was the red flag moment that Queensland put it up, that they couldn't score points. So I think that was the big thing that was always a worry for this series, was where the creativity was going to come from.
Yep.
And especially in this game with the skill positions basically being removed from it, either through all the late shots or the other stuff. Like, it was a grinding fest, and without their creativity to score points, to me, it's like, I'm not a huge fan of kicking penalty goals in the best of situations, because it's just not a great return on investment for me. And that is like, hey, we're struggling for points. We're just going to take the lead here. Whether that kind of signalled it and helped lift New South Wales, hey, they've had good position, can't score, and we've got out of this with just a 2-point deficit. Yeah, we can do this.
Yep.
And then it really just took finally some broken play, 2 offloads, and then Luai goes through some tight defence from Nanai and is away. So.
Yeah, the man cops a lot of flack when New South Wales lose, so needs to get a little bit of credit here. Yeah. Nice quick feet, and then the vision and the ability to slow it down. To get Best.
Get some support.
Tell you what, when that hit Best on his right shoulder and he bobbled it, I thought, we're going to bomb this again.
Well, he dropped, 2 in the first half?
Yeah, because he had that line break on the left side where he spilt his lollies down in the first
New South Wales were a little bit more error prone than Queensland in this one.
Incredible finish. And how about the state against state, mate against mate? The blokes that he runs over to finish the try. Gagai and Ponga was pretty freshly injected. Yeah, I've got to keep sucking him off. Zach Lomax from the left sideline off his boot. I was like, dear God.
Kicks goals.
I was like, what's he done here? Right footer, left sideline. Mate, it looked like my golf ball. It just sliced. It came back. No, it's probably more of a baby fade than a big rank slice, but it's just baby fade had come through. 8-4 is a good kick, and then Blues fans for a long time will remember the Mitch Moses step off his left foot. Grant and Hammer sort of run into each other. Walsh slips over, and then that's the game.
Yeah, interesting defensive line, because it was.
There's a big hole.
There's Ponga there, then Grant and Hammer. Then it went out Deedon, Capewell, and the winger. So I don't know why Hammer was so far infield to begin with.
Yep.
So it was, but tight defence. Like, it was that point in the game, just coming off points. Queensland out of the momentum, and Moses saw the gap, saw who was in front of him, and stepped off his left foot, and away he goes.
The poor fella did rupture his bicep really late, watching it live.
3 ruptured biceps at Suncorp this year.
3, all halfbacks.
That's not the pitch, but anyway. I just
My physio brain's trying to put 2 and 2 together, because a lot of people are talking about it. I think it's just coincidence.
Yeah, it's just coincidence.
I'm sure we can equate ACLs and lower limbs to surfaces.
Because the vision was you're trying to make a tackle on Hammer, outstretched arm. And
classic mechanism.
Just overstretches it.
You can see the doctor, they showed it in slow motion. The doctor looks, it's not a hard diagnosis to make. Only 1 tendon for biceps coming from 2 heads. And you can just see in his face, he gives off a big fuck. Like, he knows that his season's done.
Eels get spoon.
We'll get into that in just a second. I was talking about this with my family before. Pre-game or pre-origin, let's say. So Moses coming back from a broken 5th metatarsal, missed couple months of footy going into this. Given that he goes in, plays one of the best origin games of all time in game 2, and then has the match winner in game 3 to go do something that the Blues haven't done for 19 years. If he's a magic genie and he goes back in time and says, Mitch, you're going to rupture your biceps, you're going to be out for the season, but you're going to go out and do what you did, you reckon he takes him?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I reckon he does. I reckon he says, no worries. Incredible from him. And we're talking about post-game too, and we'll get into player of the series. Pretty fucking close, considering that he didn't play in game 1.
Yeah. And then I think it's going to start asking questions about, does Nathan Cleary get who's number 1 for New South Wales next season?
I think Cleary answered that today pretty well.
He's still pretty good.
Yeah, he's still very, very good.
Still very good.
But he can't win an Origin, bro.
He's won multiple, so I think he's answered that. He's won 3 premierships. I don't think there's much of a question. I think Mitch Moses is. I think the poor guy really out of all of this is Nico Hines, because we was talking about.
Well, in that time frame as well, Nico's just did a scissors Moses as well, and his season looks done. So he's gone.
I think he'll be okay for finals.
Well, I thought they said his season over.
Nah, I think he'll be okay. So he's got a tibial fracture.
Might be Shark season over.
With a cinders. Could be. They've got to make the finals without him.
Yeah, true.
I think the timing of it all, he should be okay for finals.
Okay. But still rough. Like,
they could finish
from game one of Origin. He's had a momentous fall off, unfortunately.
100%, and they could, without him, definitely finish 7th or 8th, play away, one and done kind of stuff. And we know how they've gone in the last few years in finals games as well.
I saw some of those jokes flying around that they had Sharks players playing in game 1, no Sharks and playing in game 2 and 3, and they won both. So
poor Shark,
poor Shark,
poor Nico. You see the story about it? He talked someone off a bridge as well
during the
midweek.
week.
He's just had a roller coaster of.
He's like, bro, I play for New South Wales. I got dropped. He's like, mate, your life's harder than mine.
It's dark, but I like. So I think what we got out of that, Cleary's still number 1. Moses Handy number 2, and we're talking about 14s before. Is there any way to play him or play them together? Do you break up the Penrith? That's questions for next year. I would say probably not. The big question here is are the Eels going to get the spoon now?
I think so. Like, they were dreadful without him. And
look at that run.
Yeah, they've got and the run home is ridiculous as well.
So the next
they may be tough playing the Tigers for the spoon at the end of the season, but we'll have to see. The Tigers seem a little bit more competitive, so they might jag a couple of games between here and now, and then just be out of contention for that bottom.
Well,
spot.
it may not get to that round 27 game.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this is their next month of footy. They play the Storm at home, away to the Wars. Good luck. Home Panthers, home Roosters. You don't see them winning either of those. Away Bronx.
Probably not going to win that either. So
they do get the Dragons. I'm pretty sure after that into the Tigers. It's going to be very hard for Parramatta fans. Who'd have thought 2 years ago they're flying high, playing the grand finals, and that's the volatility of the league, I suppose.
Yeah. Especially with injuries, hamstrings and the like. But yeah.
Angus Crichton, man of the series. I've got his numbers here. Played 225 minutes, so only had 15 minutes on the bench. Tick under 430 run meters, 14 tackle busts, 10 offloads. Statistically, possibly not the best player in Origin. I think from an energy level, incredible.
I think it was also, who played for New South Wales, played all 3 games.
Played all 3.
And then played well in the first game, considering the drubbing anyway.
It was my next for mine. I think we're asking, in our group chat.
You can't give Winger.
Well, look at his numbers there. His numbers don't hurt.
I thought Crichton, the other Crichton for me was a potential option because I thought he played the best of New South Wales in game 1.
Yep.
And was pretty good through the other 2 as well. So
definitely stopped the bleeding in game 1.
I think Toto as well, probably, again, for the other side.
Goes about his work.
Yeah. Was most nothing too flashy, but just most every time he hit it up, I was like, you take him there. But I think Angus, for the amount of workload and he got through the middle, the amount of involvement, you can definitely see why he got that.
Toto's kind of a victim of his own consistency, isn't he? Like, we look at those numbers, 490 run meters. So he had the most run meters. Lomax was second. 19 tackle busts, 5 more than anyone else had. Scored a couple tries, and we're like, maybe you give it a toe. Maybe, it's incredible the work that he gets through defensively as well. Like some of those shots that he put on, just driving blokes over the sideline. He's just so consistent.
Yeah.
20 tackles, 1 missed.
Yeah.
He's a machine, that's for sure. Who performed well as a Queensland fan? Who were you happy with from Queensland
from the series?
Yeah. Well, the man up there, Paddy Carrigan, had a pretty good series.
I think he played way better in the third than he did in 2 and 1. Because there was all the heat on him coming in. It's like, hey, you got to stand up to Haas, stand up to the New South Wales forwards, don't get smashed. And I thought he played a way better game 3. Outside of that, he just lacked consistency, I guess, across the board.
No one played their ass off. Like Hammer in game 1, but electric against 13.
But then in game 3, he's looked. To me, I thought Hammer was carrying an injury in that game because his runs were impactful. He played really well today, so I don't think he was hurt. But just not a centre. I think is kind of how that boiled down to. I think, which is kind of Queensland may be in that issue that New South Wales where they've got
Too
too many
many
fullbacks,
fullbacks,
and that's where your electric talent is. But I think maybe concern for him, he was maybe stifled a little bit playing outside Deedon, who, after his ninth dummy, finally made a break. He didn't pass it on maybe as much as he should have, and bless his heart, he tackled the house down, but I don't think he would provided enough creativity at all for Queensland, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think when Munster's good, Tommy did and goes out of that starting
and
side.
And that was, I've probably sandbagging and saying, for the content, confident in Queensland potentially getting the series, but without Munster, I thought this is not one I thought we were going to jag, and maybe some hope after game one stealing in New South Wales, but. Yeah, I think in this game quite clearly showed that without Munster, they just lacked creativity to get the ball into the back line at all. Yep. And, he's the great foil for DCE, who's the manager.
Yep.
And Tom Deedon, like I said, credit, his defensive work was really good. He tackled the house down, but...
He's sneaky fast.
Yeah, sneaky fast, but he just doesn't have the magic that Munster does, and, Munster's potentially the best player in the competition on his day. So, that's a huge loss for Queensland. So...
Momentum's a big thing as well. They would have been flying after game one. They go down to a packed-out MCG.
Don't get off the bus, essentially.
Get beaten pretty comprehensively. And then that's like, we've got to go back to our fort. Like, we don't lose here. That's all the pressure.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, whereas Madge would have been saying to the boys, no one's expecting you to win.
But I hadn't said that. They did that when they went to Perth a couple of years ago. They got hammered in Perth after winning New South Wales and won in Queensland. So,
as a New South Wales fan, I was like, I do know we've got the momentum. My head says we can. My heart says we can win this, but my head says no. We don't go to win deciders in Brisbane. It just doesn't happen much at all, and definitely not in recent memory. So, good series. I'm glad that the whole talking point won't be the Joseph Suaalii send-off from the first 7 minutes.
Continuous Queensland domination and what's the relevance of the series, etc. I think it was definitely a good time for New South Wales to get another win in the series.
Got to give Madge a pat on the back. Did an incredible job with the...
Bring back Fittler, please.
Kiwis last year. Man, Freddie, obviously great player, but the writing was definitely on the wall for him. And
they needed new ideas, and I think they picked the best team they could with the health that was available. So.
Yeah. Dylan Daddy Edwards. Well, that's what Reece Walsh needs to call him, because Daddy is now 9-0 in games versus Reece Walsh.
I think if you went back far enough, you'd find games that they've played against each other that the other one has won, but.
No, I think that's a stat.
That's in NRL though. That if you go far enough back, I'm sure you'll find it.
Like in juniors?
Yeah, under 18s, New South Wales, Queensland games. Yes, I think you probably find a game.
We're clutching at straws. They might not have even played against each other. Yeah. But there's a massive caveat there as well. It's a selection thing. It's not a selection thing. It's an injury thing, because if Dill Edwards plays in game one, do New South Wales win that game? Probably not. Anyways.
Did Reece play in game one? He does 7 minutes. But he doesn't remember.
That he remembers.
Some minor PCL for Daddy Edwards there. Shouldn't miss too much time with that one.
Yep.
Well, that'll do us for 2024 State of Origin. Really sets up a juicy series for next year. Definitely the best rivalry there is in sport, I think.
Yeah, probably get a better referee for next season, I'd say.
Yeah, we had to wait 39 minutes.
You wouldn't let me talk about the referee.
There we go. We've got it. We've got it.
I've got plenty of receipts if you want them.
Queenslanders win or they whinge. That's what happens.
No, it's not whinging. It's just facts. But anyway, if you want the facts, I could bring them up. But,
I think another pod perhaps.
Yeah, I think I said it. They took the piss out of Ashley Klein, and he really is hamstrung. Realistically, the penalty count could have been in the 30s, but I think it was a slight favouritism for one team, unfortunately, out of the end of that.
All right,
and that happens to be fact as well.
Fact.
You're right.
All right. You can show us your receipts post-show. We must move on. Let's talk briefly about the round that has happened. There was a few interesting games. Raiders 20, Warriors 18, GIO 8,000 only out there on a bitter night in the capital.
A bit chilly this weekend.
Yes, quite chilly. What better way than to keep warm than sucking on the Viking horn?
Yes.
Hits from the bone. If you haven't seen that, check it out. If you've been on social media in the rugby league hemisphere over the last 3 days, you probably have seen it. Someone, Canberra local, hitting a decriminalised bit of
substance,
green machine.
Yeah,
should we say?
The little Billy though.
A little Billy Slater.
Yeah. Was that a prime bottle? It looked like a prime bottle shape.
I don't know. Couldn't see it close enough. Can we get some zoom going?
Anyway.
It was pretty much the most conspicuous place in the stadium to do it as well.
Yeah,
like
behind
the guy blowing the actual voking horn.
Totally
It was 100%.
He reckons
doing.
you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
100%. It was a setup.
He's at work
Yeah.
at work tomorrow. Oh, you catch a footy on the weekend? Let's actually talk
That's
about
wild.
some footy from this game. Speaking of biceps earlier, Jamal Fogarty returns, hadn't played since round 7. Zach Hosking, who was very good in the first month of footy, he hadn't played since round 6. KO Weeks is kind of finding himself maybe being a fullback. He's played a couple of times back there. The real probably difference in this game was Hudson Young. 2 tries, 47 tackles, a few tackle busts. From a Canberra Raiders perspective, the actual probably difference, and you hate to say it, Chanel Harris-Tavita.
Shank.
Yeah.
That looked more like your golf game.
Yes, and that's probably still stayed straighter than one of my golf drives. I think Cooper Cronk said post game that second one is like that's a gimme at NRL level. He is like their 3rd or 4th choice kicker, and pretty much inconsolable post game, just straight into the sheds. Obviously knew he'd cost his teammates at least the chance at Golden Point. AFB and Mitch Barnett, both pretty good for the Wires as well. Don't mind some tries, those blokes.
Yeah, I think across the board, all the returning Origin guys played really well for their clubs when they came back.
Imagine Mitch Barnett, Wednesday night, you go in, you get on the field, you get taken off, you have to have a few beers, surely, to celebrate. You got to get back down to freezing cold Canberra, 48 hours in between to back up. You play lights out and score. Like, it's just a true testament to how tough these guys are.
Yeah, that's it. Back onto that, quick final note on Save Origin. On socials, Toto was walking around in his Blues kit the day after as well.
Yeah, he got on the plane. He was in the
Don't know
the
if that was a
plane,
bit-
flew back, and
Bit staged or whatever, but
Yeah.
definitely celebrating the win there.
He lost his luggage, bro. Just let him chill.
I did see the boys on a very empty Caxton Street as well. So for that place to be completely empty, it would have to be reasonably late in the night, you'd think.
Yep.
Yeah.
They all have work in the morning, bro.
Yeah, I think they
Did you
wait
see
until
him
it was
wave
empty
him?
to take that
Yeah.
picture, because otherwise it wasn't going to end well.
South beat Tigers up at Gosford. Trell doesn't need surgery for his Liz Franck. I think he's going to be okay. It looks like a couple more weeks out for Trelly Mitt. They need to win without him. They've shown in this game that they could. No Appy for the Tigers hurts, and Damien Cook had a bit of a feast. Good for us, Dragons boys. 156 run meters, 30 tackles, 2 try assists, 7 tackle busts, and the bloke can kick goals as well. So very nice from the old beach sprinter. This was, I don't know if you saw any of the highlights, boys. It was very Tigers. So finished 28-42. It was 28-24. The try that led to the South with the go-ahead try, I should say, was fullback to winger, dropping it 5 metres out, and Cookie picking it up and putting someone in, like just kind of inexcusable kind of stuff, and real kick in the guts. And then South's running 2 late ones after that. So hard to be a Tigers fan, but they'll certainly be looking at that draw and thinking we can win more games than Parramatta.
Yeah. They did announce that Robbie Fowler was leaving them at the end of the year as well. So hopefully that for Benji that means that it's still all good over there. But yeah, they're obviously in trying times. But I think you must be happy you boys happy with Cook, showing that he's still an elite talent and going to Dragons next year.
I should be able to make a nice 1-2 punch with Jacob Little, who's not a bad hooker. They're quite different as well, much like Hunt and Grant when they play for Queensland are quite different. One's sort of workhorsey, no frills in Jacob Little, and then one's explosive, and if he gets in the open field, it's real trouble with Damien Cook. So, yeah, really looking forward to him coming across. And there was some concern that Jack de Belin was going to be out the door, and it seems like they keep a hand on him. So, yeah, we're in the top 8. It's all going better than we'd expected.
Yeah,
That's it.
Definitely.
Better than start of season when we thought Hunt was leaving. And
Yeah,
all that.
it was out the door by all reports.
Yep.
Broncos go down to McDonald Jones, get a win, 30-14. Reynolds back definitely helps them. They'd lost 6 on the trot. Bradman Best.
Reynolds helps the best.
Yeah, big time. Bradman Best did his hammy, I think third hammy for the season.
Yeah, well, he had a bit of a scare, like tightness scare going into New South Wales camp as well.
That's right.
So, yeah, I think he's just a bit tight like a tiger at the moment.
So that's the other side of backing up.
I said toit like a tiger the other day to someone younger than us. And they were like,
Yeah,
what the fuck are you talking about?
You're like, bro, these
That's
are memes from my era.
That's disgraceful.
Four memes.
Yeah. Four memes.
Just got member. I love gold. And then they start looking at me even weirder.
Get in my belly.
I'm busy. Little offside. Anyone seen that Man with 1,000 Kids on Netflix yet?
No, not yet.
Check it out and then think about Goldmember and the accent. That's all I'm referring to there. Reece Walsh, good in this game. 174 run meters, a try, a couple try assists, good backing up, and Bronx fans will definitely be happy with that. It was pretty close to must win for them.
Yep.
Season's still alive. Storm 24, Roosters 8 down at Amy. Lots of binning in this one. Radley goes, not for taking someone's head off, it was a professional foul. Joe Chia and Connor Watson also spent time in the bin in this one. Love this stat that you sent through, Monks. They showed it during the Fox telecast. This is the Chooks since 2020. 1-18, I presume that's 1-19 now, versus the Storm and Panthers. So they've only beaten those two teams once.
Well, that's the thing.
In the last 4 years.
They haven't won against one of those two teams.
Yeah.
I'll
And
have to find out which one they
They've
have.
beaten one once.
Yeah.
And then versus everyone else, 70-27, they're going at 72% versus the field. So definitely, the bronze medalists of the league over the last 4 years, that's for sure.
And that's post Cooper Cronk. So it's after Cronk retired.
This is definitely in the Sammy Walker sort of Teddy captain era. Chooks, good, but just can't beat the number one and the number two teams.
Yep. Kind of goes back to what we're chatting about at the start of the season. Like, you definitely got those tiers, and this really kind of highlights that. You've got Panthers, and I guess you're now calling the Storm as like
Storm are just quietly going about it.
Yeah, always good, aren't they?
Yeah, and then
Top
got
of
the
the
rest
table.
after them.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Hughes was excellent in this, and the scary thing is Munster's due back next week, so or the following week, so he's pretty close.
They're only going to get better.
So
Jerome Hughes is a smoky for the Dally M. I really wish we could see some odds. I think Clarkey, as in Clarkey's rugby league column, posts weekly, who he's got, and Jerome Hughes definitely top 3 at this stage.
Well, at the moment, there's really no one in that squad that we'd be nicking any
Yeah.
points off him. So he's the one running around.
Monsters at least got 1 or 2 more rounds to go.
Round 21, they reckon.
Yeah.
Grant Anderson
They're such a no-name squad at the moment as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think, besides Hughes and Munster, who else? And Grant.
Pappy
fine.
come back.
Pappy's just come back. But outside of that, I was like, I have no fucking idea.
Trent Liero.
They're legit like the Patriots
Nelson.
of the NRL.
That's all right. They'll take a guy out of. Sorry for our less NFL inclined fans, but the Patriots and Bill Belichick in particular. The meme is he'll go find some 5'9" white dude works at Walmart and turn him into an NFL superstar.
Yeah.
That's the Storm to a T. They just have these guys come through. Trent Liero was in Queensland Origin squad for game 1.
Yeah.
Like 18 months ago, you asked me who Trent Liero is. I'd say I don't know. Trent the flight attendant, and he's a quality edge back rower, and it's guys like that that are stepping up week in week out. Tyron Wishart's been really good. That Far Logo that stepped in for Pappy when he's hurt and kept his side spot in the side.
Yeah, they must just work out the basic analytics for what they want for that position, and then they just know that Bellamy's going to get the best out of them.
Just cookie cutter, And you always hear about like attitude's a massive thing, and they're not super fussed on how talented people are, and Bellamy can turn them into world beaters. That Sean Blore that come across from the Tigers, he was lights out in this one. Nick Meaney has been way better since joining the Storm. Will Warbrick's turned into one of the better finishers in the game. Like, there's just a bunch of guys that a few seasons ago were really.
They're like fringe guys. They just manage to, like, they see the fringe guys with the right analytics, the right measurables, the right sort of statistics, that they can see the potential growth. They nick them down and know that Craig's going to teach them what they need to know and get the best out of them. So
it's the system.
It's the system,
and the spine helps.
Yeah. If you've
but still, like, you got to think they had essentially no names in Cameron, Billy, and Kronk. Skilled them up, got all of you could out of them, and then those guys have retired, and now Hughes, Munster, the same. They've brought them in, Pappy, grown them up, and they've got their second generation of, I think the world of the coaching capability. If we could have a Hard Knocks of Melbourne Storm, I'd love to be able to watch that, just to get inside the room and just see what magic sprinkly sauce or whatever is Craig throwing on them to get them to where they are. Because just to see that would be magical.
It's incredible. It's looking more and more like Storm Panthers GF, that's for sure.
They're just, both of them just seem a head above everyone else at the moment.
Speaking of the Panthers, they had a scare today. Dolphins looked pretty good there at Blue Bet. The script was in for Nathan Cleary coming back from that pesky hamstring. Blocker Roach with some of his all-time commentary. Did you see this one?
Amazing, bro.
Me think it amazing. Me does think this amazing. It was 26-24. There was dead set 4 minutes on the left on the clock. Penrith get a penalty. He goes, I think they kicked for touch. What game are you watching? Because it is not the same game that I'm watching. That is for sure. Anyways, they levelled things up, took it to Golden Point. The last 2 minutes was frantic, end-to-end kind of stuff. And then Nathan Cleary goes out and does something that no one should be able to do. But when it hit his boot, I did think, this is Nathan Cleary. This has got a chance here. And then you saw the crowd, go up behind the sticks and nailed it from 45 metres. 2-point field goal in Golden Point to go along with, 2 try assists and a man of the match performance.
Yep.
And ice in the veins. Ice in the veins for the chin.
Jimmy, can you confirm for me? I think they announced during the week that they're leaving Blue Bet because they've got that new stadium they're building, or they're renovating Blue Bet, and then they've.
I think they're going to have a brand new stadium.
Is
what, but I don't know how far away that is.
Yeah.
Chase that up. We'll get to
just a confirmation of what the news was, but I think Penrith are going to have a new home for a little while.
Manly dusted the Gold Coast. I've got to just get on my phone here because this is more recent results. 38-8 was the final score there at 4 Pines.
Turbo playing fullback?
Turbo at fullback looked pretty handy from the bits and pieces that I saw. DCE
did the New South Wales captain play more than 19 minutes?
He did play. It's very interesting in that Manly obviously have both captains. So Jake Turbo
and DCE.
And not captain at Manly is captain of New South Wales and played. I think he played 85 minutes for the series. I'll be able to double check that actually because I've still got this
for a captain.
It's a series. I think he played. I think legitimately 85.
He had like 3 stints in the whole game.
83. 83 minutes for the skip.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, incredible. I think Yo obviously seems to be making the decisions when he's out there.
Yeah.
But he must be a good bloke, old Jakey Turbo. That's for sure. 38-8 in this game that did feature.
Who scored? I just want to see, did Turbo get any...
the bits that I saw, Luke Brooks was certainly making it Luke Brooks fail. Brooks, Hopewadi, Saab, Turbo, Ben Turbo, Tommy Talau.
Triple Turbo again.
Triple Turbo, they're pretty good when they go triple turbo.
How far away? Oh, it's probably a bit early for the ladder chat, but back healthier now.
They're dangerous.
They're dangerous.
Yeah.
It's just like, are they too far away?
No, they're like 8th.
Seventh there is what Jimmy's got there. So
comes down to how healthy they can stay.
Yeah. And
I think where they're at is probably makes a lot of sense for that team.
Well,
final time.
5 or 6 have a home game at Luke Brooks fail. Look, then then it's hard. Can they? But we're talking about tiers.
Yeah.
Yes. They're not in that top tier. Obviously, over the last 4 years, it's pretty hard for anyone to win the comp. That's not Penrith or Melbourne. That's for sure.
This was Daz's first game back as well at Brookvale since leaving.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Titans historically good there. Had won 6 from 8. That goes to 6 from 9. Cowboys Bulldogs. We did
Just saw the end of it.
catch the end of it there.
Cowboys
Looked like it was
scored
close.
late
Yeah.
to take it back from the Bulldogs.
Dogs, I saw had the lead before we started. Where are we? Cowboys 20, Bulldogs 18. Cowboys score through Jackson Purdue. Val Holmes conversion for them to get the 2 points there at Queensland Country Bank. I think they had nearly all their guys backing up.
Yep.
Obviously, ideal time slot,
Yep.
Sunday night, a bit different to Friday night. And so that means, Monks, if you've got the ladder there.
They're 8th.
So Manly and Cowboys both win, which means, damn it, Dragons will have dropped out.
Yes.
10th.
Yeah, 10th at the moment.
Run us through.
So up the top, as we all probably know, we've got Storm, Panthers, and
Are they the same, or what's the difference?
No.
between
30
the
and
two?
28.
26.
Okay. Hey.
Yep.
Your eyes are better than mine.
I got one number right.
4 points clear.
4 points clear.
Yeah, 4 points clear. Roosters and Sharks both on 24, third and fourth. And then fifth is the Bulldogs at 22 points. Dolphins 22 points, sitting there at sixth. Eagles and Cowboys round out the top 8.
So we've got 9 rounds left?
21, 20, 8 maybe? There's 27 total, and this was round 20. It's 7.
Oh, hang on.
7 left, I think.
7.
Why is this on round 18?
Yeah, I was going to say, he's this guy.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm pretty sure the Dragons are 9th.
I went straight to the ladder from.
Here we go, Max. All right.
Playing 17. There we
Melbourne 34, Penrith 30, Cronulla 28, Roosters 26. Manly 5th, 25. Dogs, Finns 24 apiece. Cowboys stay in the 8 or jump in, 24. Dragons 24 out on points difference. Raiders 22, that was close to must win on Friday night.
Very negative.
In the Super Bowl. Brisbane and South 20 apiece, Newcastle 20, Wars 19, Titans 18, then the two cellar dwellers, Paras 14 with the bye this week, and Tigers 12. So Tigers and Para are gone.
And 8 to go.
Titans, Wars, Newcastle, South, Broncos. Mathematical, but good luck. And then Raiders 22, and then it's really tight.
Yep.
Going up, Dragons, Cowboys, Finns, Bulldogs, all 24, Manly 25.
That's a points difference for the Roosters there. It's not bad.
Yeah, 209. They're like ability to score points. I've seen it. They've set them do it twice to the Dragons.
Yeah, true.
When they get in the mood, they can score some points.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's do a bit of sort of more historical and long-term rugby league chat. Shauno, you popped this in an interesting note that the next Immortal will
Yeah, I
will
saw
be
an
announced at the end of the
announcement
year.
that there sounds like the next lot of Immortals are going to be talked about.
Have they said how many? They're going to leave it a surprise.
Yeah, I think we'll know closer to when they actually do that. We're just looking at a list. I think the last lot was 2018 that went in, so which is wild to think about. I only remember that. I thought it was yesterday,
Yeah,
kind
blink,
of thing.
bro.
Yeah,
Pre-COVID.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I thought it was post-COVID, honestly. But yeah, it's been 6 years since any new Immortals come in. So that's then kicked off the chat about who's potentially going to come in, and you've got the current list there.
Yep. So Churchill, Fulton, Gasnier, Raper, the original 4 Immortals from 81. Langlands and Lewis added in 99. Beatson in 2003. And then Andrew Johns, the 8th in 2012. And then that class of 2018, Dave Brown, Frank Burge, Daily Messenger, Norm Provan, Mal Meninga, 2018. So we currently have 13. There hasn't been a whole lot of rhyme or reason as to how many get announced at any one time. So we could be looking at 1. We could be looking at 4.
A couple, yeah.
Who knows? We were looking at some eligibility prior.
Because you got to remember that 2018, they basically revamped the whole thing.
Yep.
So they also have the Hall of Fame, and there's 100 odd, I think, in the Hall of Fame at the moment.
Yeah. And there was eligibility, well, try saying that 3 times fast. Eligibility
Can't say it one.
criteria. Thank you,
Once.
You have to be a member of the Rugby League Hall of Fame, and to be in the Hall of Fame, you have to be retired 5 years.
Yep. And then he's actually got it there.
So Cam Smith, under these current
current
plans, I don't think he can be.
I'm just reading that first dot point there.
Yeah, so previously players had to be retired for at least 5 seasons to be considered. However, revised rules announced Thursday have reduced the time to 3 seasons.
Okay. So there you go.
Ipso facto,
Cam
Smith is about to become an immortal.
For 3.5 years, haven't played his last game in 2020. So
I'm glad we read this. That's good.
So Bailey Slater was 2018, and then of course Thurston, Cronk, etc. were all in that time frame. But for me, I think if you go right to the start of the NRL era, the one that makes the most sense is Darren Lockyer.
Yep.
I think he's played in 4 grand finals, won 3, 1 being Super League. And I think the big thing for him, outside of the Australia stuff, the Queensland, that he was the best fullback in the league, switched and became the best 5'8" in the league, clearly. You think of that now, if you say Edwards is the best fullback, and then becomes better than Munster as a 5'8", is a wild thing to think about.
Yeah, I think Hines is a really nice comparison. Like we've seen him become a Dally M halfback of the year, but had to make that switch. And then the poor bloke over the last 2 years, everyone's like, this guy's not a state of origin or
no one really has done it. Like I know Jack Whiten, they started a little bit at 1, was more a 6.
And you do see it often that guys make the switch and are really good at it.
But no one's been, I was the Australian number 1 to the Australian number 6. It's wild to think about. For all the stats, I still think 2006 was the best rugby league season ever by Darren Lockyer. He won absolutely everything in that season. And then lead that, of course, into Queensland stuff. He played 6 and forced JT into the 7 jersey, essentially, and then kept the best halfback of all time and Cooper Cronk out of the side. So,
can you repeat that last bit for us?
Cooper Cronk, best halfback of all time.
Okay.
There's no doubt in my mind of that either. So,
and we can end the podcast right there.
Yeah. And
with all due respect, Mr. Cronk.
Yeah, and I think Cronk, I feel bad for the Queensland guys because outside of the Sydney media, that these 4 we can talk about it with Lockyer, JT, Billy, Cameron, and then Cronk. I guess the 5, all have multiple type careers.
Their credentials, are definitely.
I feel bad for Cronk that he kind of get overshadowed a little bit by Cameron and Billy, but he's basically Tom Brady of the NRL,
and the Queensland halfback that's a better halfback than him.
No, I think the career-wise...
we don't have time to get
Cooper Cronk's had a better career than anyone else in the NRL.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
From an accolades perspective, and winning.
Yeah, the bloke played 14 seasons, went to 9 grand finals and won 7 of them.
Yeah, that's pretty hard.
There's no bloke ever that could wake up in the start of the season in March, flip a coin and say, that's this year I'll win the comp.
The fact that he did it across 2 teams.
It did it across 2 teams without them and back-to-back at the back of his career. It's wild to think about.
So you think he's the best of all time?
Yeah. If you look...
Better than Joey?
Joey won 1 comp in the NRL era. He won 2. 99. He won in 97. The same year that Darren won his as well, which was Super League.
That's true.
And I'm not sure that Newcastle
team... So Joey won the real one?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Newcastle team beats Brisbane that year. So...
Good point.
Yeah, there's caveats to that. But yes, he won... 2001 was his big win, and then outside of that, not a lot. But that's also, I guess, the curse of playing in Newcastle. If he played at one of those other bigger Sydney clubs, then maybe he wins more. But
could you say that about Cronk though?
Yeah, if you're talking about greatest of all time,
yeah, exactly. You take Cronk. If you take Cronk out of
great supporting cast,
those Storm and those Roosters.
You already gave me a KV point. Have they beaten those teams since he's left? No. So I think everyone talks about Cameron and Billy. And, they made Cronk. I actually kind of starting to think it's the other way around. I think Cronk was the glue that put those 2 together, then left and was the glue that put the Sydney Roosters together and why they were so dominant. And if you talk greatest of all time, what's the thing you look at to define greatest of all time? winning.
I think winningness has to be
plays a
number one.
huge part of it.
Yeah,
There's no one even remotely close to have won the amount of comps that he had. So a couple of asterisks thrown in there, but he's
Did you count or not count?
I did count. Yeah. He still turned up, played all the games.
That is true.
Yeah.
Not his fault that they were cheating.
Yeah, yes, yeah. And if
Well, it might have been. How much was he getting paid?
that was the thing. That was the thing with that. Like, they're all homegrown talent, and they essentially were. Because the thing is, if like they're breaking the salary cap, they're paying to get the best players, but they were just paying the guys they'd already got.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was where they kept GI. I wanted to pay GI to keep him around.
Yeah.
You know, if they left him, still win grand finals without him. So they were the team that got caught, in my opinion.
Yeah.
with the amount of money that was floating around in the leagues and how low the salary cap was, I think they were the team that got caught, and then everyone else cleaned their books up in the process. But
a nice little tangent. I do like your argument that Cooper, from a winning perspective, is possibly the best halfback of all time. For me, Joey Johns, and again, New South Wales bias, maybe also nostalgia bias,
Yes.
being a kid and watching him grow up. But the things that he did with the footy, I don't think anyone has ever been able to replicate. And then bringing it back to the original point,
Darren.
which you made about Darren Lockyer, and going from three-time Dally M fullback of the year, 98, 01, 02,
Yep.
to three-time 5/8 of the year, 04, 06, 07, 38 tests, three-time premiership winner. I think all the accolades are there. I think he needs to be made an immortal.
won 5 Origins in a row before he retired in his career as well. So,
Yep.
I agree. And I think for that first decade of NRL era, like, there isn't another player in that period that kind of jumps to that kind of level. Like,
Yep.
for me, that's him. And then you're going to go into the next era of the Queensland dominance, all those other guys we've just mentioned, which, with this rule change, could be
Setting
definitely
up
a
for
Cooey in
Smith
there.
at least.
Yeah. Whether that's Smith, if that's JT, I'd probably put my hand up for Cronk in that conversation, but Billy as well is in that list. So yeah.
I think Billy is the best fullback of all time. That pains me to say it. I think credit where credit's due, and I think he'll probably get made an immortal.
Especially that generation, was the best fullback.
So, do they then go an old timer? Will they go 5 again? Does a guy like Sterlo get a look in? Does a guy like Ricky Stewart get a look in? It's hard.
Outside
Freddie.
of that, I think Peter Sterling is a great one, definitely in there. And then follow that same with Ricky, that Raiders dominance as well through that era.
Yeah, we were talking about a couple of weeks ago when we were looking at that Origin team from 30 years ago, and
That's all
half
Raiders.
of Queensland and New South Wales are Raiders, and we're like, oh fuck, that they were really good. So obviously they're not going to put 10 people in.
No.
They did go 5 last time. Is that correct?
But
8 to 13. That's 5. It was very historical.
But that's also because they hadn't put anyone in since 2012, I think.
Yeah, so similar time.
Seems so time frame. But they did one in 2012, and then they were.
But they already had 8.
Yeah. Yes. But
7.
So Harry had 7. But I think it was kind of like with the 2018 was the big revamp of the NRL and the process of that. So that's why they put 5 in. That's why I don't think it's going to be that many.
Well, it's
I think it'd be like one previous one, maybe. Like it could be Peter Sterling, Darren Lockyer, Cameron Smith.
Yep.
For mine, there's like someone pre NRL era, someone right at the start, and then someone from say the 2010s onwards.
Yep.
Which for me would be Cameron Smith out of that list of guys that has the biggest name value. But yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say in 2018 they or at least the article we're reading made a note that it was 3 pre-war era players. So I think again they're kind of going back and like bringing that history of the NRL rugby league into the Immortals as well as some of those more recent players.
Yeah, and you'd assume that anyone pre-70s is probably their run's done. Like they're not going to do any other historical guys. The argument is, is there an 80s or 90s case for a Sterlo or a Ricky Stewart or someone?
Waterman maybe.
Yeah,
I think
it's so hard for us as well, given that's pre us now. So all we can go off
we got
is
really
highlights
the end of Billy Peter Sterling's career, like kind of like.
I don't remember Peter Sterling playing as a kid.
I'm just not playing, but like the the mystique, I guess.
Sure,
is the main,
yeah,
like right, he just retired kind of thing, and you knew all about what he'd done in his accolades.
Kind of what Cam
not
Smith
necessarily
is
watching
now.
him.
Yeah. I've just scrolled up to Sterlo. So career
Retired in
78 to 92. Multiple. I don't actually have an Australian number of games there. Anyways,
Yeah,
two times Dally M, 4 times Dally M halfback of the year. Monks, can you just do a Peter Sterling search? Yeah, I'll get him up here too as well. Does Sterlo deserve to be an immortal? 228 games for Para, 36 at Hull. So in terms of longevity, not like the modern day players. Did have 13 for New South Wales, 18 for Australia. From a sheer numbers perspective, you'd say no.
Yeah.
From what we're looking at.
But he still played 14 years.
Sure.
With a break in the middle there.
And that Parramatta side, we talk about winningness. That
won 4
Parramatta
premierships
side in
time.
the early 80s was unstoppable.
Yeah.
And then
At the start of Origin as well,
Sure.
winning that process too. So.
And what do we put weight on? Do you put weight on winning like a Cronk, or do you put weight on talent like a Johns? It's hard.
Yeah, well, it's both. It's like you have to win, and then you get the individual accolades as well. Like, Dally M's, etc., to show that, hey, you're the MVP. Plus, if you win, it goes hand in hand.
I like where your head's at. I like maybe one past, one recent, one sort of present-ish. In that Cam Smith is not that long retired.
Yeah,
I think Cam Smith has to be an immortal. I think there's no.
It's definitely at some point. I think
about it.
all those guys we mentioned for that Queensland period of dominance will end up being immortals because for that reason they were just so dominant and so dominant at the club level as well.
Yeah,
those guys were the ones that were winning.
The Storm boys plus JT.
Winning 2 for them. So it's definitely.
It's fun. We'll definitely watch this space and chat, and then it'll be nice to see when they say the date that's going to be announced, because that will.
I think they've got it.
Did they say it there on the 21st?
of
Jeez, okay, that's not far off at all. 21 August. What are we now? That's a month.
Is that no?
Yeah.
No, that can't be. I was going to say, is that just before start of finals? But it seems like an odd time to just announce that thing.
Yeah,
That'll be running into the round 27, I think. Anyways, watch your space.
So you'd assume it's like leading to like Dally M awards and stuff, wouldn't you?
Oh,
No, but that's at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of a strange.
Hang on, read the top of that. The NRL has outlined plans to add a 14th immortal next month as part of an expanded
So at
Hall of
least
Fame.
one.
Yeah, that would be added to each year. So does that... Am I reading that correctly as saying that they're going to just do one and then each year they might add another one?
I don't think they will allude to if they do more because they did keep that kind of secret.
Yeah.
I think it's saying there's at least going to be one more. There's going to be a 14th immortal. Maybe there's a 15th as well. They're just not going to outline that. And they're going to add guys into the Hall of Fame.
What if then you leave it at 17 and then to become an immortal you got to boot someone else out, so you go 1 through 7.
You got to fight an existing living mortal to the death for a spot.
Or go beat a ghost. All right, this chat. Let's get a little bit of expansion chat in there. PNG looking to be announced in 2028.
Well, that actually says there they're going to announce 11 new men into the Hall of Fame. 6 women, 2 coaches, 2 refs, and 4 contributors.
Yeah, that's for Hall of
That's
Fame. That's
Hall of Fame.
says
Yeah, but
nothing
I'm
about
saying
immortals.
I know. So I'm just saying that the Hall of Fame numbers will be more significant. That's what I kind of want to get at.
Possibly, yeah. We'll find out in 2 podcasts' time.
Yeah. Expansion chat, PNG, 2028.
Yeah, more rumours that it's imminent, that it's all going to be announced that they're going to join in 2028. The big update for me was that potentially the Australian government and the PNG government are going to do a deal where the players will be tax-free over there. Bit of a tax haven in PNG, as you will, which would be massive, considering for... I guess any of our international listeners, those guys will be in the top tax bracket. So the example I have there, if you're on a mil, that's
430,000.
yeah. I think it's Jimmy. You'll know the something over $1, 45% something.
Yeah, let's do some
45%
tax law here on this.
But I think it's roughly. I didn't want to say it's 45%. It's not quite that, but it's kind of. It'll be somewhere in the it's is-ish. So somewhere between 430 and 450K they will save playing in PNG versus playing for Australia, which is massive
incentive.
Massive incentive. Yeah, for you, especially for a salary.
And it's a good little bit of news because when we've been talking about this in
like, how are they going to make this work?
Prior, we're like, how are you going to get Aussies to go live in Port Moresby?
They've also said that they'll be the safest people in the country. Like they'll have 24-hour security. They're going to be megastars. Blah blah blah, and a lot. But this for me was, I think, the icing on the cake for someone who's like, why would you make the decision to go there? Kind of like, you look at the US sports, you state tax. Which one has low state tax? You go there to play.
California, no bueno.
Yeah, exactly. Go to Florida, etc.
Yeah,
and would PNG be that tax haven for the potential players? Like, hey, I could, I'm getting paid $1 million, $2 million a year, and I can save almost half my wage by doing so. I think that's a huge incentive.
Massive. It's looking like it's going to be announced. It's going to be interesting with this possible move for North Sydney, aka Perth Bears.
Yep.
And then we need one more, don't we? You need 20.
Yeah, it's 20 by 2030 was the following rumour for that. So that's the plan. So
second New Zealand team, I reckon.
Yeah. I think one more in Australia and one New Zealand make a lot of sense.
Speaking about the other game, which is kind of relevant internationally, Wallabies beat Georgia 40-29 at Allianz on Saturday afternoon. That means they're 3-0 in this Joe Schmidt era, albeit against rugby powerhouses Wales and Georgia. Yeah. Georgia just beat Japan and didn't get smashed at the World Cup, so definitely up and comers. And I only saw highlights from this.
They had that length of the field try, which was the big one.
So that little, and he kicked it into the fullback and got it back. It was a little bit freakish, but nice little try there from the Georgians. And they're playing one-off tests in Australia, so that's testament to the development of their game. But yeah, when does I think can you chase it up? Is it South Africa and then Argentina, or is it other way around? And then the Bledisloe is not till September. It's a while off.
Yes,
I think
we play South Africa first.
South Africa first, then Argentina.
We play them twice.
Yeah.
So
two.
So is that like a series?
Yeah. So two South Africa, two Argentina, two New Zealand. And that's 10th of August. So they're off next weekend before playing back-to-back weekends against South Africa. Yep. So watch this space. We'll see what Joe Schmidt and the New Look Wallabies can do against some really formidable
that's quality competition.
Yep. All right, that's a massive State of Origin round 20, was it, for the league? A little bit of rugby union chat. Let's go down to Victoria. Let's talk some AFL footy. The Crom. The early Crom. Watch out for the early Crom because they looked very good in the first half. Then the Bombers looked to have it all wrapped up, and then 3 late goals and a Josh Rochelle doing that little bit of a James Hird homage, and the Crom win a very exciting game. 17-13, 115 to 17-11, 113 at Marvel on Friday night. Ben Keys, 5 goals, 3 in the second quarter, although looking like can you just chase that up? Has he already been to the MRO? Dangerous tackle on Jai Caldwell. Caldwell hit his head, couldn't play out the rest of the game. So we should have some news. Cleared on tackle after confusing week. We're going to talk tackles.
Yeah, I put it in there because it's been an interesting week for tackles.
Watching that, the way that it's been adjudicated, I thought he'd be getting at least a week. Yeah. It's not his fault. There's no intent. It's just purely really outcome. Monks, if you wouldn't mind
whack a dude's head
getting up on our screen. Yeah, it's like anything that in the AFL that was.
Well, yeah.
Even
if you want to go into the Charlie Cameron thing, like they gave him 3 weeks initially and then gave him nothing. Like,
there's no consistency. Like surely, like if you're going to go 3 and then they fight it, you're downgrading.
You're downgrading, not to
1,
nothing.
Like 3 to 0. I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's a weird state of affairs.
And the quote, the statement they put out, like it was an error of ruling or something like that, as in we have no fucking idea what the rule is, and we don't
know what we're doing, bro.
Yeah, it literally sounds like that. So.
See if you can get that Keys one up.
That wasn't the video.
There was some pretty bad kicking from the Bombers, particularly some set shots. Big men with football can confirm. Rucks and goal kicking often don't go hand in hand. Sammy Draper missed one that he should hit 99 times out of 100. But big Cole Langford also pretty poor from a set shot late in the game as well. He's normally pretty safe. Look, can't really blame it just on those two individual efforts, but certainly were costly. Where do we get to?
End of the crom?
End of the crom.
I think you've covered that.
Oh, we'll try. Yeah, we couldn't find that video.
He's still looking.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother. That's all right. Watch it for yourself. If you haven't seen it, Ben Keys on Jai Caldwell. Giants 14-5-89, Suns 6-14-50. Giants pretty good throughout. The Suns only kicking the two majors in the second half. Lockie Whitfield
can't win away from home. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, the fortress up in the Gold Coast and just can't win outside of the Sunshine State. Lockie Whitfield, 40 disposals, been very handy on the season. Jesse Hogan actually, I think he sits number 2 at the moment on the Coleman at 49 for the season. And we've got to talk about diddly Sam Flanders.
Sexy Flanders.
Stupid sexy Flanders. He's having himself a year, man. 43 disposals in a losing team. I think this was at the time of writing these notes. These numbers will be close. Second in disposals, only behind that aforementioned Lockie Whitfield, and 7th in kicks. He's going nuts. And like his last month of footy, 30 in a goal, 27 in a goal, 33 in a goal, 42, 6 weeks ago against the Saints. He's really having a breakout year. Old Sam Flanders. Stupid sexy Flanders. Where's he sitting there? So he's 4th now in disposals overall, behind Whitfield, Dacos, Sarong. And can you give us kicks there? Yeah, over on the right. 9th. There we go. So as it stands, fourth disposals, 9th in kicks.
Disposals per game, though, he's top in the ladder for what that's worth.
So he must have missed one.
Yeah.
There we go. 31.9 a game, equal with Treloar. Saints beat Eagles, not too much. I didn't watch any of this. Couple of highlights. Tim Membry, 23 posies, 5 goals. Sinclair, still good. 10 to be when Saints win. Adam Simpson sacked last weekend?
Last weekend, yep.
Thoughts? Yeah.
Well, leading into last weekend, because they had the whole hoopla about will he coach, will he not.
That's right.
And he was just like, I don't know, you just sacked me, bro. But in the end, he didn't coach, and they did a thank you thing, essentially, at the ground. So, I think the Western Australian papers got stuck into him about their losing record, kind of glossing over the fact they did win a premiership with him. So they're
recency bias.
Yeah, exactly. And
You love saying, what have you done for me recently, bro?
Yeah, it is exactly that. But
every person on the armchair is in Australia.
yeah. Well,
Bill Belichick, what have you done for me recently?
Well, that's the thing.
I was gonna say Klein.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah.
Since you sent off Suoli, something that possibly could have been 10 minutes. What have you done?
30 callers for New South Wales. Like, what's going on, bro?
We gotta
call the game straight, bro.
We got a wild Queensland groper.
The truth comes out.
But the rebuild period for Eagles has gone on probably longer than they would like.
And how much was he to blame for that? It's looking pretty good, really.
Yeah.
They've turned things around, if anything, this
year. I think they just
where they were last.
They got really old really quickly, and then just couldn't get the young fellas up quickly enough for that transition period. But you'll see in 2 to 3 years' time, the team will maybe on its ascendancy, and it'll be from his work and kind of getting this to set up there. Yep. But they'll have a new coach come in to take over and to take the reins to lead him hopefully back to the promised land.
Team that's not looking like any promised land this season, at least.
The
Magpies. Pretty handily beaten by the Hawks, 133-67. Yeah. Jack Ginnivan getting all the headlines in this one. 31 disposals, 2 goals, including one with about 5 minutes to go at the end, giving them the night to his old team. He's a polarising figure, old Jack Ginnivan. People love him or they love to hate him. And he was the guy holding the phone, doing the selfie post-match as well. Very Gen Z kind of stuff there for the Hawks. 4 goals each for Luke Bruce and Connor McDonald. And the Magpies are like they need to win out. They pretty much, I think they need to win every game.
Yeah.
We'll look at the ladder in a second, but
they've got talent to be able to do
major
it, but
problems.
massive hangover I think for them. And I guess credit to the Hawks, they've been pretty competitive all year, and they've definitely been
incredible,
on the rise. So another team that's a young squad that's finally starting to head in the right direction.
Yeah, the Hawks are certainly playing good footy. I just want to have a look at their run home because there is a sneaky chance that they could play some.
Just scroll down a little bit,
play
Jimmy,
some
on the
finals.
ladder for me.
They play the Crom next
Currently
Sunday.
in 11th, and they're just one game out. So yeah,
They got a hard run. They play Adelaide in Adelaide, then they play Giants here in Canberra, then they play Carlton. Richmond, they should win. Kangaroo. So there you go. So if they can jag, probably two. You'd think they'd have to win 4 out of 5. So if they can jag 2 upsets, and then win the games that they need to win, they're towards the end. There's certainly a chance. So just sit 2 points outside of the 8 at the moment.
Yeah. On the other side of the coin, Collingwood, they've got Richmond next weekend. Then they run into Carlton, Sydney. Lions,
They're gone.
won't win any.
Yeah.
That's
They're done.
That's them done. Finished Melbourne.
Yeah, the one from 4 at the moment.
It was they were hamming it up in the media as like must win, and I was like, hey, yeah, and then you look at that, they're like, yeah, that's them done.
Yeah.
They're not. Sydney's in Sydney. They're not going to win that.
No.
The saving grace is they play
Was Lions
Brisbane's in Melbourne.
In Melbourne, okay.
Yeah, it's watching the Lions today. I don't see Collingwood not dropping a game through there, which is what they'll have to do.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Good night. Sleep tight. Cats did drop a game against the Dogs last night for pretty ordinary conditions. You see the coach's box, Bevo having to just to try and see his own players.
Wow.
For those listening, that is him wiping the foggy
window,
windscreen.
Defogging the...
That's what he's doing.
Well, why was it foggy in the first place, bro?
That's a good question. It was only steamy in Bevo's coaching box. I didn't see the Cats coaching box. Anyways, fog chat aside, Bulldogs 13-17-95 beat the Cats 7-6-48. Adam Treloar, very, very good in this one. 31 disposals, 3 goals. Jamara Ugle-Hagan kicking 4 in these conditions, pretty difficult for a key forward. Chris Scott didn't seem to be too scathing of his team, and he said it was uncharacteristic performance. Dogs, sneaky good. They sit 9th. They're just 2 points.
Got a good percentage.
2 points out of the 8. Yeah, they can score points. Then they've won 4 of their last 5. They'll be a good shout for playing some September football. That's for sure.
Yeah, Bombers kind of going in the other direction.
They are. They were top of the world a few weeks ago. Power 16-20-116 beat the Tigers 11-9-75. Charlie Dixon in his second game back after some lengthy time not playing footy. 4 goals there. Wines and butters good. Just add a bit of cheese there. Some wines and butters. That's a dad joke. Yeah, Porter sitting 7th.
Yep.
You know,
Good at home.
Yep, good. Yeah, water's wet.
Yeah.
And then the game of the round, the Lions, 11-13-79, beating the Swans 11-11-77 at the Gabba. Sean, did you catch much of this today?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. But
Bloody game of the round.
yeah, I know. It was good timing for that. But I think the Lions finally, they've righted the ship 5 in a row. And from where we were talking about Las Vegas at the start of the season to where we are now, like I think they've finally kind of cleared up what they needed to do. Their go forward is better, and having Hitwood in the front, I think has really opened up their scoring potential too. Charlie getting off helped them as well. So
getting off all 3 supposed weeks that he was facing.
Yeah. And I think I picked them here at home at the Gabba, even against the Swans, who've had a little bit of a wiggle of the last month with their win-loss record. So I thought it was a good game they could steal, and I think they've kind of finally getting back into the mojo where they could make a run, and they're sitting 3rd at the moment.
This is a good one. Trying to explain to the wife why it was a flip of the coin / Lions slight favourites, and she's like, "But aren't City the team to beat?" Yes, that is correct. You been paying attention.
Yeah.
Have
you heard of the Gabba? It is a fortress.
Yes, but they are
Is it a fortress?
Is it a fortress?
Yes.
Are India afraid of it? I don't know. I don't know any of the stuff that comes out. The Swans were pretty unlucky from an injury perspective. So Tommy Papley, his ankle did not look good, carried off by the trainers. Dane Rampy was subbed out with a calf, so they'll both be looking at time on the sidelines, you'd think. Luke Parker back in the mix, played last week as well. Definitely a bit of a slide, but maybe for Swans fans thinking, oh, well, we can get a few games out the way here. It's not going to have this massive bit of pressure building. A lot of it's going to be how many of them can stay healthy. I think, they're long seasons and attrition certainly plays into it. So how many of these Swan stars can avoid injury, and we'll have to obviously wait for scans for Rampy and Papley, but hopefully nothing too serious for those two.
Yep.
McLuggage, always good, 26 disposals, 3 goals. Goulden probably got Brownlow votes in this one. We'll do some Brownlow chat in just a second.
Yeah, well, the big thing is he's probably stealing from Lockie Neal, you'd think. So, that's always going to be a challenge for Lockie to repeat. So,
managed to do it twice. Dockers D's did not see a lick of this. 17-14, 116 to 10-6, 66. Can you get some goals and some ball winners for us? 4 goals Walters, 4 goals Amos, and then ball winners. Brayshaw 41, Sarong 36 and a goal. You'd think they'd be polling 3 and 2 without watching any of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And Paul D's are in the wrong direction at the moment.
They're not playing finals footy. Yeah. We didn't know if it was hyperbolic when Petrarca went down to say, is that the D's season done? But just coinciding, I think, with a few, hard games.
Yeah.
Look, I put a line through them. They just seem like, from a momentum perspective.
Yeah, there might be a team that sneaks in, but we don't think they're going to be challenging any of the aforementioned top teams at the moment.
They play Giants. They play Bulldogs. They play Port. That's in Melbourne.
That Bulldogs.
Bulldogs
and Port's games will be massive.
And they go to Gold Coast, the graveyard. Play Collingwood. Yeah, in round 24. It's going to be very difficult for the D's. Freo flying, 46. They're in the top 4. They've won 4 of their last 5. Blues Roos didn't get to watch as much as I would have liked, but because I'm a good fan, I did catch a considerable amount. Blues probably would be not super happy with their performance, only beating perennial cellar dwellers by 19 points here. Charlie Curnow booted 4. Paddy Cripps ended up with 29. She's all very good, 35 and 2 goals. Lots of non-Carlton fans were blaming the umpires, as people like to do. But when I watch football teams, I always give 100% actual factual data. There were a few calls which really put the nail in the coffin for the Roos towards the end. 150-metre penalty certainly comes to mind for Adam Sard, but Blues get away with the win. 48 points. Much like the Swans have, suffered a few losses over the last month of footy, both looking beatable at times. Do you want to run us through a ladder?
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned the Swans. They are still number 1 at the top there, sitting at 56 points.
Are they safe yet, or do you think?
Safe in what term? Of falling out of the top 4?
No. Minor premiers.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. They're 2 games, but with that percentage, they're 3 games ahead of Carlton, really. Their percentage 142, Carlton's 114.
So they got...
What, with 5 rounds ago?
Yep.
Yeah, their upcoming games are Bulldogs, Port, Collingwood, Essendon, Crows.
So no gimme. Crows at home, you probably should win. The Bombers, the way that they've been playing, Pies, the way they've been playing. I think we can officially just give them the minor premiership. Which is funny because they've only won 1 game since the last time.
Yeah, they had a bad month.
They have had not the best July.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Yes, right at the top. Into the Blues, sitting at 48 points. They're second, 46 points for the Brisbane Lions. And Fremantle sitting there at fourth, just below the Lions on percentage.
So, Blues question then. You worried they might fall out of the top four?
It's tight, yeah.
With the other two kind of on the ascendancy underneath them?
Definitely. But then they do have that full game and handy-ish percentage when you're going up against Giants and Cats. I would be really disappointed if they didn't finish top four.
But they might be fourth, looking at that.
They might have to play away. And you look at those two teams below, you wouldn't want to play Brisbane or Freo away in week one of finals.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true. So just outside the top four there, we've got the Giants sitting at 44 points, along with the Cats and Port Adelaide. Sitting at 8th on the downward trend is Essendon, sitting at 42. And then behind them, sort of a bit of a race to get that last 8th spot. You'd think with the Bulldogs, Melbourne and Hawthorn all on 40 points. As you mentioned, we've got the Suns, Collingwoods, Crows, Saints. They're all probably starting to look to next season, along with where did I get up to?
West Coast,
Melbourne and Richmond at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, I would say
the ladder.
Suns and Collingwood have to win out from there. So, yeah, it's probably from 12 down that they're out of the race.
Yep. Yeah.
Mathematical for those two, but, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, mathematical, Saints, Crom, but no. And like we're just talking about Collingwood, we probably know Suns have that advantage of they seem to be able to win every week in Gold Coast. Let's have a look at their run and see.
Do they have most of those games at home?
Yeah, they play. Well, this is massive. They've got Q Clash next week, which is at the Gold Coast at People First. Then they play West Coast away. That's very winnable. Then they play Essendon away. That's huge in terms of finals ramifications. Then they play Melbourne at home. And then they play Richmond away. So their away games are winnable.
Yeah, but they also have more away games than they do home games.
It's 2 home, 3 away. We'll give them the mathematical tag.
Yeah.
Mathematical, but 6 points out at the moment. They can maybe lose one.
Let's just hope that's to the Bombers.
If they lose that one, that they may have to lose. I don't know. We're getting close. Like we're at this sort of fun period where anything can kind of happen. It's not like the last week, often where things are just about made up, although sometimes it's not. But you're starting to really get some shape to both the league and the AFL
starting to get
tables.
To the pointy end of the seasons.
You got a Brownlow predictor there?
Yes, we do. So Paddy Cripps is now favourite. He's sitting on a predictor of 26 points, sitting at $2.75 to win out. Behind him, we've got Lockie Neal sitting at $6, 23 points.
Have you got the odds there?
Yep. $6, and then after him, Dacos is sitting at $7, and it really starts to hang on.
Yeah,
different order.
Golden 13, Sarong 18.
Let's just go back to sports.
It's good old reliable.
Yeah, Cripps is very short.
Short now.
Yep, $2.70. So Neil and Merritt sitting at $6. The Bont, Dacos at $7, and then Goulden at 13. It starts going out to Sarong at 18. Warner at 34. Probably what you'd be looking at.
I love Paddy Cripps. I just feel like 275 is a bit too short.
Agree.
At present. Watch his space. He could go out and have a few blinders and wrap it up, and it not even be a question. We'll see. We'll see how the next few weeks play out in the AFL. All right, boys. Let's talk some international soccer. So, as of last podcast, we had got up to just before the semi-finals for the Euros. Spain go through against France, which I think there was some justice in that France had played, along with England, some of the most boring football that we'd seen all tournament. We had spoken about going into that game that France hadn't actually scored their own goal from play. That either been Mbappe from the spot or off the boot of the other team. So have you got the game result there? I think it was 2-1 off the top of my head. I just haven't written it in there for some reason.
2-1 was definitely the final, but
I think this was 2-1 as well.
I'm pretty sure
I feel
it
like
was
France
as well.
scored. Chase that up. Some of the big talking points was the security guard leaning on Murata's knee at the end of the game.
Trying to make a tackle and slipping over and laying it on a player.
So that is both semis and the final were 2-1. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yes.
Because Netherlands
and the team that scored second won all of them.
Oh, now you're testing us. Get those open for Spain, France, and for England, Netherlands.
Because that definitely was in the final, wasn't it? England scored first.
No, Spain scored.
Spain first scored. No, sorry, already answered it wrong.
Yeah. But I am curious now as to what these were, because I was also watching them at 5 a.m. and you're kind of like half awake for the first bit, and two of it, the semi-finals were both on work days for me, so I was like driving to work, like listening, and then like starting at a shit. No, anyways, we have jobs. Okay, so we've got it here. Semi-finals, Spain, France. That's right. Kolo Muani scored first. 9 minutes in, put so that was the first French goal from open play. Lamine Yamal, young player of the tournament, scored at 21 minutes. Then this one went to extra time, and it was Marino real late. Is that right? No, that was Danny Olmo at 25 minutes. So this was all goals first half kind of stuff. Then in the Netherlands-England game, I think that's what you're thinking of, where Netherlands scored first through Xavi Simons in the 7th minute, then Kane from the penalty spot, and then England getting away with a late one again with the Ollie Watkins goal. That was pre-extra time, yes. Yep. That was actually a really nice goal, the Ollie Watkins one. You remember his super sub come on, gets the ball with the right foot, has to turn and then put it bottom left and sealed it for England. So there's that one and the late Bellingham one in the quarterfinals. They left a couple of them real late. Yeah. Unfortunately for the Poms and it not coming home, couldn't get a late winner in the final, and the team that deserved to win the tournament won the tournament in España.
Best team that played in that tournament.
Hands down. Just looked the most likely to score from open play throughout.
Played an aggressive style, which really well for them, and I thought it was quite good to see.
And uncovered some guys that will...
Some young talent.
Yeah, so Lamine Yamal's also at Barca. He's not going to be going anywhere. His dad's 32 or 33. Yeah. Crazy. So looking like the next generational talent, definitely he's coming out on the international stage. But Nico Williams, I'd seen a bit of him before. This year's a little bit older than Lamine Yamal. Out on the left wing, just the pace and the touch, and his cutback is scary. There'll be some big clubs throwing him some offers, I'd imagine. He's at Bilbao at the moment. I think there was 3 of the Spanish starters at Bilbao, because we were looking at the teams going in and we're like, they're not Real Barca heavy. Generally Spain's just half of Real, half of Barca, maybe a little sprinkle of Atletico in there. But they have a few Bilbao players. So Williams and Yamal both in team of the tournament, and both be probably looking at some handy off-season offers.
Do you think Harry Kane is cursed?
The striker is also cursed. I don't think I believe in curse. I don't know how to answer it. Yeah.
Does he think he's starting to think he's cursed?
Maybe.
After what he's been through?
England cursed?
Yeah.
They can't.
It's great for us. Yeah, it's not coming home. It's beautiful.
It's funny, yeah.
Pommy tea is so good.
And you can definitely tell that, we're the type of blokes that watch soccer, fleetingly. They're struggling at at winning major tournaments despite going deep. And this is like the whole Southgate argument, like he falls on his sword.
Yep.
But the bloke in the last 3 years has taken them to the European Championship finals twice.
Yeah. He's taken them all the way, just hasn't won the thing that they've been hunting for so long.
And one was on penalties and the other was going down to the best team of the tournament, and it was really a late winner from a
close, good game of footy, so yeah.
So how much of that is Southgate's fault? I think for England, they're young
and still uber talented.
Foden's young, Bellingham's young, Saka's young. The unveiling of Cole Palmer and Kobe Minu through the middle, like they're all young as far. The only place they're getting old is at the back.
Yep.
So Kyle Walker's getting on. John Stones is getting on a little bit. Luke Shaw, who played more of like a left mid role but had played left back in the past, is getting on a little bit. Having said that Mark Gay is at Palace that played centre back is pretty young. But yeah, they're big stars other than Kane and Walker, I suppose, are young in Foden, Bellingham, Saka.
Yeah, so their next manager they need.
Yeah,
they need someone that's going to capitalise on the talent and bring that best talent out. So you kind of allude to probably a very strong veteran, that type of coach to be able to do that. But who's available? Who could potentially?
Who wants that job?
Yeah, who wants to walk into that job?
Dude, it's like being the president.
Got dodge bullets at the moment.
Topical week. You can't win. Being the manager for England, there's just so many passionate football fans over there.
Well, you have to win a tournament, essentially. You got to win something.
Yeah, and the expectation's so high, and I don't think anyone's...
That's the thing, you got to win or you're out, yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to argue that the Premier League's not the best league in the world, although sometimes, you look at guys like Nico Williams at Bilbao and you think, oh, fuck, maybe actually the league is pretty good. Yeah, it's a hard one for English fans and for Gareth Southgate, who really over his I think it was an 8-year tenure has achieved a lot of success, but it's coming home or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you have to win or you're out. So yeah, unfortunate.
Just looking at some of the ages there, so some of the guys that I didn't even mention are still pretty young. Like Declan Rice is 25. I thought he was a bit older than that. Pickford's 30, so he's getting on a little bit. Trent Alexander-Arnold, who actually found himself, sitting on the pine for the most of the back end of this, he's only 25. Those young, superstars in Foden, Bellingham,
they're all mid-20s.
Yeah, there's it's really the only older guys are Walker, Kane, Pickford kind of thing. Stones.
Kane's only 30 as well. So.
Yeah, but that's true. The World Cups, they're going to be fine. I'm talking sort of, the next era, I suppose.
Yep.
There's no one in the whole team who's ancient.
Well, I guess that kind of follows into why Southgate kind of fall on his sword. Like, they didn't win this tournament. There's all the conversation in the media about him and his style of play. Now, of course, leading to the World Cup, he's kind of gone, okay, someone else can take on the job. Take this team, build this squad to then go and potentially win the World Cup. I think is, start now and lead towards that. Instead of having to deal with all the backlash and then leading into it. So.
And I think that he self-corrected. I think they saw that playing TAA in the double pivot with Declan Rice just wasn't working. He goes to the bench, and then they bring out this real superstar or budding superstar in Kobe Minu, who anyone that's watched United has seen what he can do, but he's 19, he's unproven at international level. They bring him out, they start to play a little bit more exciting football, with him and Rice paired up. It's you can't win. I think Foden had probably given how good he's been in the Premier League, probably didn't quite live up to the hype. Was a little unlucky with some of those signature shots outside of the box. The whole Cole Palmer stuff as well, not using him early in the tournament probably plays into things. But they played pretty well. They just ran into the best team. Yeah.
Do you have any names there potential for England jobs besides Ange?
It'd be massive for the first Aussie to ever coach in the Premier League to be the first Aussie to coach England.
It would be, yeah. So Ange has been connected, but I think it's all just speculation.
Is there an actual shortlist in that article? See if you can chase that up. Even if you find odds. I'll go through the team of the tournament. Very Spanish dominant. Interesting that Kyle Walker was the only Englishman in it. Up the back was Mike Magnan, the French keeper. Wanted to give a little shout out to the Georgian keeper, whose name I'm sure I will do no due justice to. I can't even say that. Let me find his name. He made something like 29 saves in their 3 games. Georgian goalkeeper. And is now being linked with all kinds of massive clubs. Georgi Mamadashvili, I'm going to go with. But he said, I don't want to go and sit on the bench at Arsenal or Chelsea or whoever might throw him. But a massive tournament for him and massive tournament for that Mikatsu, something like that. Their striker. They'll both be probably playing in one of the bigger European clubs.
That article goes the other way. Go to the bottom.
Yeah, no, I was just making sure I got the right article.
Have we got some names on the short list there?
Yeah,
10. 10.
Do you want to go?
No, go to one. Go to one.
Or go to one and
go to one, and we'll do 5 maybe. Who's one?
Eddie Howe, Newcastle into the Champions League. Almost impossible to see Howe walking out on that for England. I think you need to go to the top. I reckon.
Then why is it good? Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's the article because the names at the top. I was like, oh wow, I've seen. I don't think Pep's going to go, but anyway, here we go. Jose Mourinho, England manager. Could you imagine? He's at Fenerbahce in Turkey. Yep. One of their all-time great managers. I don't know if he'd want to finish his career in Fenerbahce.
They did have him 10th though. We had it right the first time.
They did have it.
Yeah, it's okay, weird. Keep going then. 9.
But it says, let's be real, this is never happening. No, I'll never, unfortunately.
I'm not sure.
Like, he's a big name. Like, he's a big character and big name.
Same odds as Michael Carrick, Gary O'Neill. That's interesting.
Go down.
I don't know if this is more of a wish list or a...
I'm going to try to find some actual odds.
Yes.
Run us through some names. Joachim Low, who used to coach Germany.
Yep.
Pep Guardiola, I don't think that's happening.
No.
Thomas Tuchel, just finished up at Liverpool. Where is he these days?
I think that's it.
It's Bayern Munich.
Out of work again.
Does he not?
By Bayern.
Doesn't have.
Yeah, it seems like he's out of work.
Yeah.
Did I say Liverpool? Bayern.
You're probably looking at
that's. I don't hate this. Jurgen Klopp embraced by.
I'd rather him stay at Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool fans.
Yeah.
Keep going. Just read through the names.
After Jurgen, we've got Frank Lampard.
I'm sure Potters would love that.
Yeah.
Although not the best managerial success.
Yeah. Mauricio Pochettino.
Yeah, Pochettino. He's getting old, I think, as well.
Yeah. So,
and he just sacked from Chelsea.
Yeah. Graham Potter. Where's he?
Chelsea's game. Brighton.
Yep.
Got to talk, boys.
Lee.
Waiting for him to scroll.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out. Lee Charlesley. So
the 21s.
Yeah, led on the 21s to win Euros last summer.
He's like $3.50 on these odds, and Eddie Howe's at like $3.
Yeah,
from looking at these odds, like it's like a 3-horse race. So Eddie Howe's at 3-1, Lee Carsley at 3.5, and Graham Potter's at 4. And then it's all kind of speculation with like Pochettino's at 11s, Lampard and Klopp are at 20s.
Yeah. So that list is pretty much this list.
Yeah, it's this list is going back and forth.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Angie's at 50-1 if you wanted to have a little punt. I think they make
too soon for that.
I think historically as well they like
Pommies.
English coaches. I'll just quickly go here. List of England managers, and then we probably need to talk.
So the Copa
a little bit about the Copa.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think who's how many of them have been non-English. Capello, that's right. I think he might be the only one. Hodgson, they're just caretakers. Oh, no, it's Sven Goran Eriksson. Yeah. And then they're all Poms.
Yeah, that looks like it.
I think the only 2 managers of note that were international was Sven Goran Eriksson in like the Beckham era, who coached him for 67 games. Really pretty good record there. But quarterfinals, World Cup, Euros, World Cup.
Quarter.
Yeah.
And then Capello had him between 2008 2012. Sort of like Rooney, Gerrard, Lampard kind of stuff. 2010 World Cup, round of 16.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hard. Into Roy Hodgson, quarters, group stage, round of 16. That's for Euro, World Cup, Euro. And then you look at Southgate, like on paper, 4th place World Cup, runners-up Euro, quarterfinal World Cup, runners-up Euro. Like, so by far the most successful in terms of going deep in major tournaments. But they've, that's all this rhetoric around this is their golden generation. They've got to do it now. But then you think back to Sven Goran Eriksson's team.
Yeah, we had
Beckham, Michael Owen, Ashley Cole, you had Paul Scholes, David Seaman. They had a pretty good team back in those days too.
Yeah.
But then the Brazilians and the Germans also had very good teams as well.
Yeah, well, that's true, yeah. Sometimes it doesn't matter.
Yeah, does it? It just depends what era you're playing in.
Yeah. New South Wales, 8 in a row. So there's your odds. Eddie Howe 3-1, Lee Carsley 3.5, and Graham Potter 4. That's probably the most likely candidates. I was running through that team in the tournament. I only got a little bit through that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go back. So I was talking. That's right. I remember how we got there. So we were talking about Mike Magnan, who the French keeper. Obviously, if you can't score goals, you defend pretty well. So he was the keeper in the team of the tournament, along with countryman Will Saliba, Kyle Walker, the only Pom in there at right back, Manuel Akanji from Switzerland at centre back, Mark Cucurella of handball fame at left back, and then an all Spanish midfield with Rodri, Fabian Ruiz, and Danny Olmo. Danny Olmo's at not a big club as well. I say not a big club. Red Bull Leipzig. He's not at like the, they haven't won anything.
Yes.
So he may be looking at.
It's a name we've heard of.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a fucking
Sydney
Central Coast Mariners. And then Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams. We spoke a lot about them on either wing. And then the guy that for me that was most impressive, having not watched much German football, Jamal Musiala is unreal. They've named him as a striker. It's more of like a centre attacking mid. Interesting here as well, like in a tournament that was dominated by own goals, and there was like the golden boot was like split.
Only 3 goals.
Yeah,
to get that.
Gakpo, Kane, Mikhail Tadzi, Musiala, Olmo, and Ivan Šranc from Slovakia. How do they do the tiebreaker there? Actually, they used to use assists and minutes.
It's allowed to share them.
Thus, the award was allowed. So all 6 of them got the golden boot. Lamine Yamal got the
poor own goal.
Yeah, own goal.
He dominated and robbed.
Lamine Yamal wins the young player of the tournament. Started the tournament 16, turned 17 during the tournament, and Rodri was player of the tournament. We see week in, week out how dominant he is for Man City, and did a lot at setting up those triangles in the middle of the Spanish setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Spaniards out of that team of the tournament of 11.
Yeah. Yep. Makes sense.
A little bit of Copa. Didn't really watch much. I watched an interesting video of Messi's ankle because I am quite interested in this kind of stuff. Pretty innocuous kind of mechanism, medial ankle, so the inside tibia side was very fat. I think all reports are just saying a ligamentous
because his
injury.
ankle rolled in.
Rolled the other one. So it rolls in what we call eversion, which loads your tibial side. It's much less likely to have you are much less likely to suffer an injury to the ligamentous structures on the inside of your foot than the outside. But that means that often it can be a little bit more devastating. Okay. Everything that I was looking at was saying that it's just a ligament injury. That ligament complex is called your deltoid ligament. It's a big triangular shaped ligament that comes off your tibia down into your talus and your calcaneus, your heel bones underneath it. Don't think he needs surgery. He's kicking around in a boot. They're mid-season at the moment in the Major League Soccer, likely to maybe miss a month to 2 months tops. I would absolute worst case scenario, I would think would be 2 months. As they play a weird season as well, it's nearly kind of calendar year like.
Yeah.
So they'll just sort of won't rush him and just try and get him back for Inter Miami running into the MLS playoffs.
Yeah, they haven't given a time frame, so they just said he's been ruled out indefinitely. So they'll probably just give him as much time as he needs to get right.
Yeah, I'm also assuming that is a deltoid ligament. There are other medial ankle ligaments. They're quite rare, given the mechanism. Most likely a deltoid, and it'd be interesting to see, what his prognosis actually ends up looking like, and if there's other structures that can be involved, your tib post tendon, some of the tendons that wrap around that big sort of bump on your tibial side. Yep. Alas, aside from Lionel Messi's feet, Argentina did win this game 1-0. Left it really late. Part of me really wanted Colombia to win this, just in the fact that I don't think they've ever won this tournament, which is crazy given how old it is. Monks, if you wouldn't mind just getting the list of Copa America winners, whereas it's dominated by Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay have actually won a fair few.
Yeah, well, to that point, I think Messi became the most decorated football player. I think he's won 45 trophies in total. So, across his long
career. Plenty there. So this goes back to 1975. I feel like it's an older tournament.
This is.
It might have been when it was rebranded or renamed to Copa America.
All right, so let's go into the Super Bowl era. Then
Exactly.
Since 1975, Peru's won it, Paraguay's won it, which is interesting. Uruguay have got a couple, and then Chile also a couple.
I think this runs back.
Yeah, that goes. Okay. Yeah. So Argentina has the most at 16. This is interesting. Argentina 16, Uruguay 15, Brazil 9. You wouldn't have thought that. Paraguay, Chile, Peru 2 apiece. Colombia have won it in 2001, but this is only the third time that they've been to the final. There you go. A bit of Copa America history. We were looking at the Argentinian team on paper. Best team in the world, I think. At the moment.
Have they won every major they've played in lately?
Yeah, so they've won the last two Copas and a World Cup. So that's 3 major tournaments in a row.
Yeah. So what was interesting, the big news of this was basically everyone sneaking into the stadium without tickets.
And the fights.
Yeah. Well, people paid up to
Let's mention 15. That this is Hard Rock Stadium, so...
Yeah, this is Miami.
Miami, yeah.
So, and they...
What are you saying?
Nothing. I'm just saying that they paid tickets were about $1,500 to $2,000 for a ticket, because the idea is that this is Messi's last Euros.
Copa.
Sorry, Copa. Yes, South American Euros.
I've been watching plenty of the Hello Sport guys. I've been doing it too.
Yeah, the Copa America. His potential last one, and yes, it's probably likely he goes and plays the World Cup. But, there's also that thinking, well, maybe something happens and maybe he doesn't. So this could be his last big international tournament. So tickets are really expensive. And then there's, people outside with paid tickets who aren't being allowed in because too many people are already entered. There was too many people in the stadium. And there was literally SWAT guys going around checking tickets and kicking guys out during the game because they needed to try and get people in that had actually paid really big money to get into the stadium. So that was the big story outside of Messi's
So how were these guys getting in the first place?
See if you can find the video of them climbing in the air vents, bro. They were
Mission Impossible shit.
Yeah, literally. They were jumping fences. They were climbing in through air vents. They were literally trashing the place trying to get in to watch it. So, yeah, they really wanted to see Messi play in a final, especially, I guess, in America versus where the World Cup's got to be there. So, they'll probably get another opportunity that might heighten security for that. But, yeah, it was interesting visuals to see after the week that was in the US.
Crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy scenes. Some of the fighting that I saw as well, including sometimes some players being a little bit too close or involved.
They're just essentially just bum rushing it. So if they couldn't get the tickets off. So
this is the real downside of humanity kind of shit. Hey, this looks like one of those Chinese trains that's being loaded, and they got people there trying to push them in.
Yeah,
look, there's kids getting pushed over and stuff.
But if you look, there's one security guard in the back there. So,
so why is it so undercated?
I don't know. It's a really good question why it was so undercated.
we were literally watching this video of fans streaming in, like kids are like falling over, their dads are like trying to protect them and stuff. And then, we saw one security guard there.
Yeah.
So they'll need to sort of work up for this, for
need
the
to
World
work
Cup.
something out.
Yeah, for sure.
Here
Here we go. Fans, Copa America fans clamber into air vents as Argentina versus Colombia final descends into chaos.
Yeah, skip it. Come on. Skip it.
All right.
Look at this.
Oh, what the hell? How?
It's wild.
So we're watching this on YouTube. There's people literally they're going all out. They're in their Colombia and Argentina
Jumping
the
huge fences as well. Like they're 10-foot fences.
I can't see a second anywhere.
Yeah.
So
No security.
Hats off to these people. They've got in easy. Wow.
It was all over the place, like around the whole stadium. So
Oh.
I guess if we ever go to the US, we can go watch the Dolphins game without too much trouble.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Suppose so.
Maybe we
Yep.
should just go to the World Cup and not buy any tickets. This is crazy. So we're watching people climbing up over like a climber for some
Garden fence.
garden feature.
It's still probably a 9-foot fence.
Yeah, it's a fair fence. Like,
it's
it's
a
a fair
decent
fence.
fence, but yeah.
But like, there's no one.
There's no security around
There's
anywhere.
no one within QE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was...
People going over the ticket stands here now as well. This is crazy, man.
So I guess a bit unfortunate. Like, yeah, if this was played in South America, you'd probably expect more craziness like this. But I think
Well, they'd be better
it
prepared.
made yeah.
Well, they'd be better prepared. I think
Probably, and it made a lot of news because, of course, it was in the US, and it was like, hey, this is an NFL stadium, etc. Like, you don't see this in a weekend for a Dolphins game. So why are we seeing it like this?
Also, good luck protecting your southern border. Can't fucking keep them out of a football stadium. Here we go. We got some
There's the
guards.
final shot up.
Oh, that's funny.
The problem is they had this in Florida. They needed to have it further north.
Yeah.
No. In terms of silverware, Argentina also won the last edition of the CONMEBOL UEFA Cup of Champions as well.
Yeah, they beat Italy back in 2022. That's 4 major bits of silverware on the trot for this Argentinian team.
Yep.
And all their fans. All right. That'll wrap us up for some soccer, football. Keep an eye on the transfer windows. It'll be interesting leading into the 24-25 big European leagues. If anyone that's really shone on this Euro or Copa stage, not that we watched heaps of the Copas, if they'll be signing some big buck deals. Let's talk a little bit of basketball.
Curry sets, fires, puts it up, bang!
Russell Westbrook is set to join the Denver Nuggets. The Clippers and the Jazz have agreed to a sign and trade deal. That means that there's going to be a little bit of depth at the guard position to help out Jamal Murray and Christian Bruin, who's been okay there. For sure. It also means that the Nugs will have the number 1 and the number 2 leaders, active current players for triple doubles with him joining the Joker. Might be a little bit of a missing piece kind of situation.
Well, I don't think they're expecting Westbrook to be a triple-double machine in this team.
It's definitely not old OKC Russ, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think probably his defensive side of his game is where they want to see him come across. So, because he's been very, very good of that of late as well. So yeah, I guess let Murray do the shooting and switch him out for maybe some extra defense. So yeah, I think he's a good name value and was worth adding into that squad.
Interesting, hey, with the Clippers just blowing up their house.
Starting it again.
Yeah, starting it again. Jalen Brunson, this is an interesting story. So re-signs with the Knicks, 4-year, $156 million extension. Nothing to wipe your ass with, that's for sure. But didn't take the 5-year max deal. So may have turned down roughly around $100 million, which is the guys have been getting around about $250 for 5 years.
Yep, correct.
Which keeps a lot of cap room, a la Tom Brady, to definitely try and keep Julius Randle in Madison Square Garden. They've just brought over Mikal Bridges from the Nets. He's only on a short-term contract at the moment, so they may be able to re-up him. And it also means that some of his old college teammates from Villanova in Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo, also along with Bridges. They're getting the gang back together.
Yeah, yep.
And I was watching this video of them all FaceTiming each other and the boys are back in town. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Knicks use that money to try and keep them all together, or if they spend a bit of that on trying to bring another piece in.
Yeah, agree.
Jack McVeigh.
Good story.
Massive story. So we were just talking about a few of the Jack Jumper boys making the Boomers team. Matisse Thybulle missing out. The Houston Rockets have obviously had some scouts down under. Jack McVeigh signing a 2-way deal for the Houston Rockets, which means he's not officially on their 12-man roster, so he'll play with their G League team and then try to bust into the 12-man roster. But it's massive for him. I saw an old tweet of his, I think from 10 years ago, saying it's, as an Australian basketball player, obviously it's always your dream to play in the NBA, never stop dreaming. Something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. See if you can find that amongst Jack McVeigh old tweet. And like the timestamp was wild because the bloke has just been kicking around the NBL essentially, and his dream is going to possibly come to fruition. He'll definitely play G League at least, and go from there. I'm going to try and find out how old this bloke is too. He's 28, so certainly not a whippersnipper, but certainly not, he's 10 years younger than LeBron.
Yeah, went through college basketball over in Nebraska.
Yeah,
So
played a lot for the 36ers.
I guess his second real attempt to get back in the league. So,
he's really just been kicking about the NBL and has had a career year in the NBL with the Jack Jumpers, being a champion and the grand final MVP, and he's earned himself a little 2-way contract with the Rockets.
Yeah, late bloomer. So he does well. And that probably leads into the Olympics in the Boomers. Kicking off, I guess a lot of the basketball teams are having trials, hit-outs, as you will, kind of leading into the Olympics. Big stories, of course, of the US team and how they're going. Winning as usual.
But
they started off very slow and started, I guess, kind of building their chemistry. But they've been better late. It was interesting. Who were they playing? Were they playing Sudan?
South Sudan. It was only 1 point.
But they're behind for a large part of that. I think they were down 10 points at half time, but managed to come back and get the win. But I think chemistry is always going to be their challenge with their big names and the mouths to feed. But it'll be interesting to see how this tournament plays out when we get there.
Yeah, I don't know how much to read into these close wins. Like, they're still winning.
I think that it's all, each team is trying things. Yeah, that's the way I think.
Yeah.
Like, they're trying systems.
There's load management.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
Guys coming off the bench. I watched the extended highlights of the Boomers hit out with Team USA. Particularly interested in also how the USA would
how they line up and how we line up against them.
When the squad came out. So their starting five was Steph, Ant, LeBron, Tatum, Embiid, and they actually needed their bench minutes from Booker was real good from the perimeter, and AD had, I think, 16 odd to put away the Boomers. Boomers went Giddy, Mills, Kay, Daniels, Landale. So we were wondering how that was going to line up. I don't think we had Nick Kay in our starting five. I think pretty much,
and we're kind of flipping whether Mills would start or whether it'd be the veteran off the bench.
Yeah, so it looks. I think Giddy Mills will be our backcourt. I think Landale has got the centre job. It will all be his. He scored 20 here against the USA, which is no mean feat. Giddy went close to a triple-double. I think maybe Kay and Daniel. Surely they'll have it. That's probably the starting five going into the Olympics, but they may play less minutes in comparison.
Yeah, I think as a team we'll probably heavily rely on our bench, like Josh Green, Exum, etc.
It's a handy team, man. So, it's probably the like Paddy's obviously in the twilight of his career. Ingles in the
but it's very NBA heavy.
It's very NBA. It's the most NBA heavy I think we've ever had.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's the least reliant on Paddy Mills and Bogut. When Bogut used to kick around, it's probably the best team that we've had, Correct. Which is maybe too much of a statement given that we won a bronze a few years ago. But I think this game, if you check out the highlights, you'll be like, oh yeah, like there's a no reason why this team can't win a medal. The biggest reason is this group that we face in Greece, Canada, and Spain. It is a 12-team group stage with 8 in the quarters.
Yep.
So much like the Euros, can finish third and go through.
But yeah,
then you
tough group though.
Exactly. Real tough. I think we have to beat Greece, which is a huge task because
With the freak.
the freak is playing. You look at Greece outside of Giannis, and it's not. It's certainly not as good a team as what we have. Canada and Spain, however, on paper are good.
Can't half his brothers play as well. Like can't have the team beat his
I was
brothers.
having a look. Well, I was having a look at it. I think a lot of them either injured or unavailable or something. Yeah, I'll see if I can find Greece's NBA squad, Greece Olympic squad, real quickly. Because I think that's
like basketball. In there.
we're going to have to win that game.
Yeah.
Look, we could beat Canada or Spain, but I feel like it's going to come down to this.
Yeah. Both going to be very tough challenges.
Oh yeah, it's insane, and
We've played
so
played
cutthroat.
Spain pretty competitively in previous tournaments, but we just have the Spain have had the rub over us.
So Greece's entire team, other than Giannis, are not in the NBA. There's no names in there that you'll recognise other than maybe Kostas Antetokounmpo, who's over in Greece. The bad thing, I think, looking at this is that 3 of them are at Olympiakos and 4 of them are at Panathinaikos. So
A lot of team chemistry.
The team chemistry is going to be big for the Greeks. The other thing I didn't like was this run-in here. They haven't lost in 2024. So Croatia, Slovenia, Egypt, Dominican Republic, Netherlands, Czech is who they've beaten. I was feeling a bit more confident before I saw that.
So we get them 2nd of August.
Yep. Our run as well, we've been good. The only team that we've lost to in 2024, albeit the international basketball is not massive, is the USA. So we beat Puerto Rico. We beat, I think they played Serbia the other night. Had beaten Japan and China in the lead up. The Boomers are a really good team. We just got the shit group.
Yeah. But hey, if we get out of that group,
they'll have all the confidence in the world.
Exactly.
The other thing that's scary about finishing third is getting America in the
yeah,
exactly. But hey,
shock the world, baby.
Yeah, that's right. Just knock them out there. Yeah, see if you can get our recent run there, Monks, because I think I'm pretty sure I don't think we've lost in 2024. Damn it, they don't have the same thing as what we have for Greece. Don't mind. I'll just back in. I saw it. The only team the Boomers have lost to this year is the USA.
And what, the Tillies kick us off for?
Yeah, this is late. I was looking at this. This Germany Matildas game, I think, is 3 a.m.
Friday?
Friday, yep.
Friday morning or Saturday morning?
Friday before the opening ceremony, I'm pretty sure. Also have
the last game.
Yeah, have a reasonably hard group in that they've got USA and Germany, and then one of the African teams who you'd think we should beat. But I think it's same scenario as well. I think it's a 12-team comp, so could possibly finish third and get out. Obviously, the massive talking point it was when she did it was Sam Kerr's ACL.
Yep.
She's not going to be on the field. I think Katrina Gorry is also questionable with an ankle. Other than that, I think a lot of the stars from the World Cup last year are all ready to rip and tear. I think Carpenter's good to go. I think Mary Fowler's good to go. Yep. It'll be good to see the Tillies on the international stage. They're going to have a lot of pressure as well. I think the World Cup obviously was great. Making the semi-finals in a home World Cup did nothing but wonders for the way that they're viewed in this country.
Yep.
But now the expectation is, we make semi-finals at major tournaments.
Yeah.
It
doesn't matter who's in our group. We should be competitive.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're ranked underdogs against Germany,
and
then the traditional best team in women's
sport.
Sport. Yeah, we'll go that is the Americans. Yeah. You've got actually some team lists there. Nice. Mackenzie Arnold should be good to go in goal. We've got the likes of Courtney Viney. I think Katrina Gorry's there is listed. She might be right. Steph Catley's, I think, going to be good to go. Caitlin Ford's good to go. Mary Fowler, Ellie Carpenter, Alana Kennedy, Hayley Russo. So lots of those Matildas stars that we saw from their mad efforts last year. Good to go. No Olyroos, unfortunately, didn't qualify.
Damn.
The men's soccer tournament is some unusual teams kicking about in there. If you wouldn't mind, Monks, getting men's rugby sevens, I think that's the other thing as well that kicks off before the opening
The team
ceremony.
tournament stuff, really.
Men's tournament, I think I had a tab open here. Here we go. These are the men's rugby sevens. New Zealand, Ireland, South Africa, Japan. Good luck, Japan.
Tough group.
In that. Argentina, Australia, Samoa, Kenya. So easier group than Group A, you'd say there. Kenya actually getting really good at rugby sevens. Makes sense. Pretty athletic. But, yeah, if we are struggling there, I think we should probably win all three. And then Fiji, France, USA, Uruguay. That's probably the group to be in. Fiji punch well above their weight
they're so good
in rugby sevens, and the US have got incredible athletes, but probably the weaker of the groups. So this is all 24th, 25th. And then when are the finals? Will probably be on the weekend, I'd imagine.
27th.
Yeah, 27th, gold medal match, 27th. So they play, this interesting format. So they play their so you play a group
When's their
games
opening ceremony?
Friday, but this is before.
Yeah, so is the whole tournament played before the opening?
No, so the group stage is before. Then it'll be the opening ceremony.
Okay.
Then they're going to have quarters are all on one day.
Yep.
And then your semi and your gold medal match are on the same day, which is the 27th of July. Don't get at me for times just yet. Not really sure.
Yeah. Well, I assume for that semi-final, final will be one early in the day and one in the afternoon, you'd say.
Yeah. We've got the golf on now. We're going to talk about golf in just a second. The timing, I feel like, for this part of Europe is always horrible for Aussie viewers.
Yeah.
America's generally pretty good because you can catch it in the morning.
Yep.
Provided you're not having to do some work. These ones can be hard. They can be really like before bed or really getting up early, or depending on how sports mad you are, maybe sleeping on the couch. But that's the gear that starts off early. So Matilda's Germany is early Friday morning. Rugby sevens will be underway before the opening ceremony, and then into next weekend we'll have a full lot of swimming and the rest of the sports going before traditionally the second week and the athletics. What are you most pumped for?
Yes.
I think we talked about this in the last pod. Outside of the teams or athletics, we talked about. Everyone always loved the athletics.
100 metres.
100 metres, yeah. See if we can beat the Poms, the Yanks in the pool. It's always fun. And then, seeing some of those other interesting sports, get around them. I do like some speed climbing. But some of the more traditional ones, like the weightlifting side of it, javelin, discus,
It's incredible, some of those weightlifters.
Yeah, exactly. But we're all nuffies, so anything sport, really.
Yeah.
If it's on, just put it on.
Chuck the breakdancing on, bruh.
Yeah, breakdancing.
Monks, what are you looking forward to?
Give me some good badminton. I reckon the team sports will be good. Pretty sure badminton's still in it. Yeah. Don't mind team sports. Sometimes the canoes.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting to watch. Yep.
The slalom, just Fox.
Yeah.
I think we did touch on it a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, love the pool just from the Aussies, all the Aussie team sports, athletics, just any of it. And then I'm really looking forward to the golf.
So the question I want to give you is, I was thinking of not where Australia will finish.
Medal tally.
Yeah, exactly. Where? Because I'm looking at last Olympics.
So it was USA, China going head to head, and Japan did real well. If memory serves, was
Correct.
in Japan.
We finished sixth behind Great Britain was fourth, and then not Russia was fifth.
The Russian Olympic Committee with their flag.
So, 39 golds for the United States, 38 for China, 27 for Japan, 22 for Great Britain, 20 for Russia, and 17 is what we finished on, with a total of 46 there.
And then a big jump down to the Netherlands, France,
yeah.
Germany, Italy, all 10 each.
Yeah.
So punching above our weight in terms of population.
Yeah, so, these are probably going to be the top 4 again.
You'd think Japan will slide here. Okay, so they hosted in 2021, 27, I think.
So
is
you
normally
think France
overs.
probably maybe up there a little
so
bit?
France at home, they'll be going up.
Do you think Australia can sneak in the top 4?
Ooh, I'll say no. I think the Brits have really pulled their ass out. You remember 20 years ago at the Olympics, they just used to suck.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of they put a lot of
you got to invest in it.
Yeah, a lot of funding,
which is what the US and China definitely do. They invest heavily for this exact reason, to go head to head, West versus East. I feel like there'll be 1, 2, maybe Great Britain's 3. It's this question: can we sneak into 4 with maybe Japan going down? Is Russia really going to be?
What are the Russian Olympians going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Not Russia.
Yeah, the not Russian.
Not Russians.
Yeah. Whether we can sneak out. But, of course, we've got to medal probably really well in the pool.
Yeah,
and
have to dominate the pool.
Maybe win some medals in some team events.
And then we always grab a couple in sailing. There's always
the rowing as well.
On the bikes as well, cycling.
Yep.
Yeah, we generally grab a few.
Yeah, maybe some of those long distance events, maybe steal some of those as well. And then, we can jag some things elsewhere.
Yeah, well, traditionally, long distance running, we fucking never do anything. So shout out to Jess Hull if she can do it.
I was thinking of Jess Hull specifically in that one.
That'd
maybe
be
some
mad.
of our walkers as well.
I think we had our girls javelin throwers as well. Name escapes me. Silver medalist in Tokyo. It's going to be fun. It all kicks off during the week. All right, let's get through a reasonably quick fun round. Jake Paul knocks out Mike Perry in the 6th round, despite being 30 to 40 pounds heavier than him. Mike Perry stepping in the Mike Tyson fight, not eventuating at this stage. Did you see any of this?
I didn't see. I saw the knockout at the end. Essentially, it looked like Mike Perry did quite well to survive as long as he did. It looked like he was getting lots of punishment in the early rounds, specifically the second. But Mike's very hittable. That's kind of his thing, and to wear that storm. But Jake clearly has power and has been boxing now for 6-7 years. So he's
no one's questioning that.
He's improving, but he's also getting bigger too. Like the weight limit was 200 pounds. He cut probably from 220 down to that, whereas Mike barely weighed in at 196. So with the difference coming in the fight, he was taller. He's a bigger guy, Jake, and then with that size, he won this quite comfortably. Did call out Alex Pereira afterwards, which was quite interesting. I'd love that. Definitely, please, Alex.
Yeah, I think most of the world was.
And if they make it a 205 limit, Alex can definitely get to that and be 230 when he walks in and has equal amounts of power. So
now that's an interesting call out because Pereira is obviously the baddest man in the planet.
Well, he's the biggest name in the UFC to call out.
But from a money perspective, could you imagine the money that they could generate if they were to fight? It will. What's the go with his UFC? I presume
Dana would have to allow it. Essentially, it was the same thing when Conor did Floyd. Conor. He had his words to say in all this as well. Like he's kind of been angling for that Jake Paul fight, but he would also be well undersized for this. Like his biggest is probably 190. So it's undersized UFC guys going up against Jake Paul. It'll be Jake's kind of in that size now that he's big enough that he needs someone kind of comparable. So I guess fighting against Mike Tyson now at 230 kind of makes more sense because they are very similar size, and I think I said that when they did that face off. It was like, Jake's actually really big.
He's a big guy.
He's a lot. He's definitely been putting in the work. Maybe some secret juice as well, but
they're non-sanctioned fights, aren't they?
Yeah, so he's definitely got some good size about him now. So that Netflix thing, I think, is not till October, maybe. Yeah,
because they've been filming the whole thing like in the lead up to it. So my understanding that this is still going to happen.
It's still going to happen. So, the Mike Perry was essentially the fill-in because that was, it's just,
at the Cowboy Stadium
exactly.
as well. Yeah,
exactly. So, hopefully the old Mike Tyson in his 60s can do something in
58,
shape.
I think.
58, yeah. But he's the way Jake's going, he's definitely improved leaps and bounds. So, yeah, an Alex Pereira fight would be quite interesting.
Should we talk about UFC 304, the big sanctioned event upcoming in England? Did we find? Is it Manchester? Can you
He confirmed the location, but it's headlined by Leon Edwards. You know, we're pretty sure it's in England.
No, it's in England.
It's
I just
in
can't
England.
remember.
We just got to confirm
Manchester or London.
which part of England it is in. Most likely somewhere in London.
Manchester? Jeez, you're not on your game tonight, Bar.
No. Keyboard's doing weird things too.
Yeah.
Leon Edwards.
Leon Edwards versus Bilal
Refs.
Muhammad. Yeah. Oh, definitely. He's calling it the wrong way. It's, I don't want to say a step up for Muhammad. It is a rematch. I think the first fight ended up in an eye poke, no contest. Edwards, of course, then went on to win the belt and had the belt for a little while. Is this his first title defense? I think it's been a hot minute since Leon Edwards has fought.
I'll get that up for you in a second.
Check for me.
It is in Manchester.
He's in Manchester. Thank you. Confirmation. But Muhammad's kind of been on a run. I think he's like won 9 in a row as well. Can you check that for me too? Oh, no, he did fight Kobe for his first defense. That's right.
Two defenses, Covington and Usman.
Yep. So, and if you check for Muhammad for me, I'm pretty sure he's on a 9-fight win streak as well. He's been at the top for a while in the welterweight division. He's not a huge name, doesn't really bring a lot of value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 win streak with the no contest of the accidental eye poke, which I think he received.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was unable to continue. So,
Good memory. That's March 2021.
So, Muhammad's done the job. He recently beat Burns, is probably the main thing. That was a year ago now.
Some big names: Sean Brady, Vicente Luque, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
And Meyer at that time when Meyer was on his long run. So he's been pretty close to number one contender in that division. But, he's the names that are in that division, he just doesn't sell that well.
That's right, in the
but he's earned his
Covington
way there.
era.
It'll be quite interesting to see how he goes against Edwards in this one.
He's 36, old Bilal Muhammad, so certainly no spring chicken. Be interesting, Monks, if you wouldn't mind chasing some odds for that. I'd imagine at home, Leon Edwards would be a pretty heavy favourite.
Yeah. Muhammad does have, of course, got a very good wrestling background, then how Usman kind of really out-wrestles Edwards in the first fight. There's some questions there, but he did much better in the second. We'll see. He's a champ. It's always very hard to beat the champ with that kind of confidence level and the backing.
They had 3 fights, Edwards and Usman. Yeah, so
They had the one, where he lost.
Yeah,
long time ago.
His last loss was to Kamaru Usman in December 2015.
Yeah.
9 years. Yeah, so the only thing that's not green, looking at his record, is that no contest against Bilal Muhammad back in 2021.
That's wild.
Odds there, Max?
Yeah, he is favourites $1.45. Bilal Muhammad is at $2.76.
Yeah.
Method of victory is going to be Edwards by points at $2.35.
Very good.
So long, hard fought fight.
And then we go into Aspinall and Blades, Curtis Blades as the co-main. Aspinall is interim, isn't he? Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
it's interim only.
Yeah, and the thinking is it's still going to be interim. There's some rumours that maybe Jones will, stripped essentially, and then they'll make this for the title fight, knowing that Jones might just fight Stipe and retire. Who knows what's happening? There's been some conversation more about that Alex Pereira Jones fight, depending what happens with Stipe. But either way, it's a big fight. I think probably a bit of a step up for Blades. Curtis is kind of the guy that has to wrestle to win, and if he stands up, he gets knocked out. It'd be interesting to see if you could find. He did beat. Oh, that was when. So Curtis has beat Tom, but that was when Tom blew his ACL out.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if it was his ACL.
Yeah. Very early.
Yeah, 15 seconds in.
It was essentially no contact, and just said no thanks. I'm not having this.
Such a shit way to win.
Yeah.
I remember Curtis Razor Blades being like, "Oh fuck!" No one wants to win like that.
Can you get Curtis's recent record? Because I kind of feel like he's on like a win-loss kind of run.
Yeah, he lost to Pavlicic and Derek Lewis. So beat
That was a
Almeida.
while ago, though.
Yeah. Beat Almeida, lost to Pavlicic. Beat Aspinall back in 2022. That was the ACL. Before that, had beaten Chris Dorcas and Jairzinho Rosenstrike. And before that, had lost to my balls, his heart, Derek Lewis. And then previous to that, like beating some killers, Volkov, Junior Dos Santos, has lost to Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, definitely seen him
no
getting,
shame in that.
Getting knocked out a couple of times.
Yeah. There's some scary dudes going at it.
Oh, definitely. The top of the heavyweight division is always scary, and who knows what can come out of that. But Aspinall's kind of on the ascendancy is a big heavyweight that's got good movement, and if he can stifle Curtis's wrestling, then he might take it away as a dominant win for himself.
Isn't Tom Aspinall's old man like sort of god when it comes to English BJJ as well? I'm fairly certain I've heard of like Rogan or someone talk about that. Just on his Wikipedia here, it says Aspinall followed in his father's footsteps, beginning to train martial arts when he was 7 years old at the Lee Self-Defense Studio, which is in Greater Manchester, let's call it. I'm fairly certain like his old man is a somebody in the world of English mixed martial arts. Obviously, the age of the bloke, it's kind of pioneer kind of shit, like in terms of a competitive kind of place. Yeah, but I think he's very well regarded. The Monkey's just on their website. They've got 4 gyms, I think I saw. It says they've got 60 years of experience. Is that the dad there, Andy?
Andy's his dad.
Andy Aspinall.
Just do a quick Google on Andy Aspinall.
Yeah, maybe just search for Andy Aspinall.
That's what I did.
What does it say? What rank is he? He's a third-degree black belt.
Yeah,
he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Probably more so than us.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a little tidbit there. Going to have a lot of pressure, but he's going to have the whole of that Manchester arena around him, the local boy taking on the Yank.
Then we got Bobby Green taking on Paddy Pimblett as well. That'll be a very fun fight. It'd be interesting to see what kind of tactics Paddy takes into that, because Green is a very good boxer. That's his style. He likes to throw. I think he coming off a loss actually for Green from memory. I feel like he got knocked out
against
Turner
Jalen
and
Turner.
then beat Miller at UFC 300. That is correct.
Which was a war.
Yeah, which was a war. So, another whether Paddy kind of takes that way and tries to throw down with him, or does the more complete game. That's usually the conversation with a lot of these things, especially with a guy that's a little bit more one-dimensional like Bobby Green is.
Bobby Green's getting pretty old as well, 37,
correct.
Turning 38 in September.
And what are the other 2 fights on that card?
Mohamed Mokaev taking on Manuel Cape and Arnold Allen,
Arnold
another
definitely
local boy, versus Giga Chikadze. He's a Georgian fighter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and some of the lower weight divisions. So, that's
It's pommy heavy. It's going to be loud in there. I think it will be good view. I will buy this card. I think it's much more from a name.
It's top heavy on the
from
name
a name
definitely.
value compared to 303.
And technically 2 championship fights as well.
Yeah, and I just think the atmosphere, they'll be going absolutely barking mad there in the north of England.
Hooligans.
F1 in Hungary tonight.
Yes, correct. We've just come from Silverstone, where, surprise, Lewis Hamilton actually gets a win. Most wins ever at a single track, with 9 breaking Michael Schumacher's record. That's his first win in almost 3 years. And I think he set the record as the first winner over 30-something, because he's getting up. I can't remember if it's 35 as like the stat or something. But, older driver getting wins. It was very good to see him get this after George had to retire. It was a pretty competitive race. We're now starting to see Red Bull struggle for pace. That's all old. But yeah, he's got heaps of records.
That is surprising for me as a non sort of F1 diehard, but it kind of makes sense and it speaks volumes to the reaction times of these guys. Like once you're in your late 30s, obviously everything's starting to slow down.
You're kind of a freak to be.
He's 39.
Continuing. It might be over 38. He's the first winner over 38.
Yeah,
being the stat.
That's a little older than what I was thinking he was.
He was actually named English Athlete of the Millennia or some shit recently as well. So he was, couldn't believe that he got that. But yeah, that came out during the week.
He's already a knight, isn't he?
He's Sir Lewis Hamilton, correct. Good to see him get a win, especially at home as well. Massive crowd. They all went wild for them. But I guess the talk is the McLarens are starting to come back through. Red Bull kind of struggling. So in Hungary, we've got a 1-2 lockout. We'll start with Norris in 1 and our boy Oscar in 2. Pastari there. Piastri, sorry. We'll start there in 2nd, with Max, of course, starting 3rd. This is the first time McLaren have had a lockout in 12 years. So it's been been a long time. It's quite interesting because the third driver that was on the start of the driver that started 3rd for that race was Mark Webber, who of course is now Oscar's manager and of course was with Red Bull at the time. But McLaren are kind of on that ascendancy. Ferrari kind of sliding, Mercedes sort of playing around there. But Red Bull are struggling because Perez, again, crashed out in qualifying, will start 16th, I think. So he's really on the hot seat. Danny will start 9th and Yuki's 10th. So that's, again, great for the Aussies there to be both in the top 10. But a lot of chat, that they might make, they did give him that extra extension in the contract. Some of the comments from Horner were like, even contracts don't really matter. For me to summarise, that's kind of what he said. They've put a lot of pressure on Perez and to start low in this race, probably not going to look at points. And they're coming into a big break as well that they might make a change going into Spa. Whether that means Danny or Yuki gets moved in that spot and then, say, Liam Lawson could come in and take the RB Cash App, whatever it is called, spot. As a replacement, there's a lot of talk there. So it's not looking good for Perez, but looking great for Daniel Ricciardo, potentially maybe nicking that spot that he's been looking for. And after all the rhetoric about him struggling, that he's been doing really well. He's been out qualifying Yuki and getting more, not a lot of points, but he's also been finishing ahead of him in some races as well.
You guys might not know this off the top of your head, but when was the last time Red Bull went 3 races in a row without winning? Because they haven't won at Silverstone. They haven't won at the Red Bull.
It wasn't last year
ring
because Max had that 12 wins in a row.
So if they don't win,
if
they don't win tonight, that's 3. That'll be 3 races in a row.
First
be a while, and that's obviously from a real casual. But just looking at that, I'm like, you don't often see that. You go multiple weeks in a row without a Red Bull win.
So I
also, there's no reason why Max can't do 2 overtakes and win.
Exactly. So. I'm looking at that. I think McLaren are probably going to take over Ferrari by the end of this race, as long as Oscar and Norris don't go crashing into each other in the first corner. So I think they'll both get good poise finishes over the Ferrari. So I think they'll stick that spot. And depending on what Max does, and with Perez probably not going to score points, it's likely that they'll close the gap significantly to Red Bull at the front there, which is what Red Bull are worried about. They want to win the constructors as well. They've probably got the Drivers' Championship already sewed up with Max, with being how dominant he is. And we're kind of, I guess, Leclerc kind of sliding off now and Lando taking it over. It's more how we're going to make sure we win this constructors. With Perez struggling, it might be like, well, off you go, considering, look, he's failed to finish twice. He did get 2 low scorings, but 17th. So his last run...
Yeah, these last 5 races are 17th, 7, 8, did not finish.
And then 8th.
Perez.
And that run there is right after he signed his contract.
Ah, really?
So, he was 2nd, 5th, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, signed his contract, gone to shit.
Absolutely.
So, it's a bit unfortunate, of course, for him, and considering that car he's in should be doing better.
Yep.
But, it'll be... interesting if they want to go a different way.
Do they often sack people mid-season?
Yes.
Yep.
So famously, they had Gasly and Albon go through that seat sitting next to Max after Danny left. And who was the other one? DeVries, Danny. No, it wasn't. Yeah, maybe there was another Russian guy that they went through that system as well at the same time.
DeVries is Dutch.
Dutch, maybe it was Dutch.
Think.
Yeah. Anyway,
Similar colours.
But that,
Dyslexic.
yeah, but they have definitely gone through drivers and a big cutthroat with.
Nick.
Not DeVries. It was Danny Kvyat.
Oh, Kvyat.
Kvyat's who I'm thinking of. Yeah, Ray, who I'm pretty sure he's Russian. So,
Yeah, he was Russian.
So yeah, they've cut throat with those guys. But.
Drivers' standings, as you said, Max is way out in front on 255, 171 for Lando, 150 for Leclerc, 146 for Sainz, and 124 for Piastri, rounds out the top five. Look, there's still a long way ahead in the constructors, 373 to 302 for Ferrari, 295 for McLaren, 221 for Mercedes. But like you say, with Perez, going as poorly as he has over the last 6 races, there is some sort of question marks there around Red Bull wrapping it up in the constructors.
Yeah. Well, but they can close the distance because if Max is still winning, yes, they get 20 points. But if say McLaren are getting second and third, then they're scoring 30. They're closing their distance pretty rapidly in that sort of time frame. So yeah, there's a lot still to come, but it's. Yeah, 25 for first, and then say second and third is 18 and 15th. So in that conversation,
you're better off coming second and third.
Exactly. You want the ball. You need 2 guys in the top 10. You want to be scoring often to get there. So otherwise, you're closing the distance by almost 10 points a race.
What time's kickoff?
13 minutes.
Nice.
Yep.
This is 11:57 on that one, but anyway, it's counting down very, very soon. 12 minutes away.
Enjoy if you're currently watching that. Let's wrap it up with a bit of golf. The Open Ladder. We're at Royal Troon. It's on the west coast. It's on the Glasgow side. So that famous sort of east coast strip, St Andrews side, on the Edinburgh side. For everyone playing at home, trying to work out where Royal Troon is. Not quite as old as St Andrews. Nowhere really is, but still a 150-year-old plus golf course. I don't know how much of this you boys have been watching. Plagued by weather, particularly yesterday, so really hurt Shane Lowry, who had the lead going into Saturday Arvo, and really quite
Do you want to put it back on, Jimmy?
Disadvantageous to be playing the afternoon tee times yesterday because the weather come in the Arvo. So we saw Adam Scott go on this great run yesterday. He shot 5 under in his third round to sort of shoot within Kui, and Lowry, being the last cab off the ranks, was pretty ordinary. Did get undone on there's a real treacherous par 8, par 3, where he come undone on that, as did a few others. Billy Horschel scrambled quite well. He's waiting to tee off. He is the current leader at 4 under. He's never won a major, but he won the FedEx Championship, so the year-long thing, 10 years ago, which is pretty incredible. So obviously heaps of PGA wins, but just has yet to find that elusive major. He'll be well aware that the last 6 major winners led after 54 holes.
Yep.
So it's his to lose. Having
It's very
said
windy
that,
out there.
the conditions are horrendous, and there's 6 guys breathing down his neck. So some well-known guys, Sanders Schauffele, Justin Rose, Sam Burns, a lot of people will be familiar with, and then some relatively unknowns, Russell Henley, Thurston Lawrence, who I'd never heard of, is a South African, and Dan Brown, not writer of the Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown, that smokes darts and plays professional golf. So we've got a sort of modern-day John Daly out there in Dan Brown. Imagine that if someone in 2024 wins a major whilst on the darts. It's one of the it's only a few sports left. Maybe actual darts that you see that. Bit of open history got made. Sui Kim with the longest ever ace at a British Open, 217 metres. That's 240 odd yards for any Americans. On the par 3 17th, hit it clean. Some luck involved, usually is with a hole in one. Just kept rolling, and dropped on in. He didn't realise it went in, I don't think, until the crowd like obviously the people were telling him. We've got it on now. Watching a bit of Adam Scott. It would be hard for him to win, but a top 5 finish is certainly on the cards for Adam Scott.
Did they throw up what he's at the moment?
I think he was 1 under or even overnight. There you go. He's even at the moment on the second. And it's giving you boys a good look at the course here as well, in that link space course, wind is a massive factor. These bunkers are small.
These bunkers look
horrendous
to play out of.
Fucking hard to get out of.
Yeah.
So
I did see
deep with big lips.
Adam Scott sink one out of the bunker. I think it was round 2. It might have been round 1.
Yeah, he holed one. There was a couple of really good saves, particularly from Horschel yesterday, who found himself in a bit of trouble and I don't think he holed out of any of them, but was just getting out and getting close.
That's wild.
And they're just so close, like they're nearly like incorporated into the green here on some of these old link styles courses.
Yeah.
Like you see how close we are here on the second, how close that green side bunker is to the pin.
So deep and steep.
Well, if you're in there as well, like getting out in one is hard, but putting that anywhere close to the pin
that's a short part.
is really
Big challenge.
difficult. Yeah.
Seeing
a fair bit of Texas wedge action as well, you'd be a fan.
Love the Texas wedge.
Given if you're not in the bunker and there's not a bunker in front of you, and the way that the greens are playing, saying
fairway's looking very short.
Seeing
flat
a fair few of these blokes go the old Texas.
Yep.
And for any non-golf listeners, Shane Larry's about to find another bunker. Poor fella. So he's got exactly what we're just talking about. Has to go the short side bunker to a close pin, harder shot in golf kind of stuff. Poor fella, not getting the run on the green.
Did I say Rahm there was 5 under so far for this?
I think for today, maybe.
Today, so
Yeah.
he's 1 under overall for the tournament. But he's made a good run here late.
The old Rambo. So we'll see sort of the guys teeing off later coming through in the next sort of hour or two. Horrible viewing time in terms of being down under. I think we've got Scotty Chef coming out here by the looks, who is close actually. So he's going out with Daniel Brown. Might bum a dart off him.
-2. They're still within range.
Yeah, and then we'll have Shawfley, Rose, Burns, Henley, Lawrence, Horschel all come out. So all the big players are about to join. The guys already out there. It's currently 5 minutes to 11 down under. You just want to throw a little note for the Tour de France? I think it's worth mentioning.
Just realised today, really, that Tour de France is in the final stage. They'll end tonight. I don't know what that means in terms of who is going to win the thing outright.
Who's got the jacket?
Roman Bardet.
Stage 1.
It's this. I've heard of this guy. He's a Slovenian.
Yep.
Tadej Pogačar. He's won him before, I'm pretty sure. Can you click on that, dude?
Sure.
Big, obviously, cycling fans here.
Oh, you missed it. Larry hit it out of there and was about a foot away from the hole. So
he can do it. Can be done. Can be done. Harder shot in golf. Yeah, just double check. I'm sure he's won on this Slovenian guy. Tour de France, he's won 2. 2020 and 2021. He's won a Giro d'Italia. He's won the Spanish version. Any Olympic medals for him? Yeah, no, go down there. Medal record show, because I feel like he's won Olympic stuff too. He's won bronze. Yeah. So for any Ciclismo fans out there, that wraps up tonight, does it?
Wraps up tonight. Yep, they're riding into Nice from Monaco. Obviously, with the Olympics on, they changed the finish line of the course.
Okay.
They also started in Italy as well.
That's it, yeah.
Interesting.
So
they can mix it up each year now, pretty much. Very unusual, I think, to be finishing in Nice, but definitely starting points and which countries they go to and all the rest of it. I think it's pretty variable.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll get the winner of that tonight.
I also did see a meme which said in Europe you can travel from nice to fucking to meme, bro.
Yeah.
So obviously nice. Fucking we've looked up before on this show. The show is in Austria. Apparently there's a place in France called Meme, and there's a bro in Sweden, I want to say. That's a good point to end it. No, actually,
That's getting outrageous,
a
yeah.
good point to end the show on. I found that
Yep.
that McVeigh
Yes,
quote,
you did.
or tweet, I should say. June 2014, this guy was 18 at the time. He was not even in the NBL. No Aussie kid should feel stupid when they say their dream is to make the NBA anymore. Hashtag anything is possible. 10 years later, nearly to the day, that dream is coming true.
That's
for
awesome.
Jack McVeigh.
Very good.
Thank you to anyone that's joined us. Enjoy your Olympic viewing upcoming. Obviously, turn into experts like we do here on the pod. You know, give us your thoughts on pole vaulting or on badminton or on Greco-Roman wrestling, as I'm sure we will do. We'll check out the F1 and British Open a little bit after the pod, and obviously a big week in sport upcoming.
Not a great start there from Brown.
No.
Sprayed it early.
They're hard, these. So obviously links course, no trees. It's hard to get it out of the rough though.
Yeah.
Thank you. We are On The Esky, Aussie Sports Podcast Show. Quite Aussie focused, but also have an interest in world sport. The NFL's not far off. We are big NFL fans. And footy coming right into the pointy end in both the NRL and the AFL. And me and Monks will definitely join each other in saying, up the fucking balloon.
Yeah.
All right. Catch you guys.
Bye.
Bye.